All right, YouTube, it looks dark still. Interesting. A lot's happened since the last time I saw you. We are gonna pick back up on this Storch build. It's gigantic, so we couldn't even film it in one night. It's incredible, I know. Okay, so we're gonna put some CA on here. The only thing I did off camera when I was walking by this plane, the other night I couldn't resist. I took my pliers, and of course, like I was waiting for the family to get ready for dinner or something, and I took and bent this just a little teeny bit here. That doesn't call for it, like there isn't something that calls for that in this step, but it's pretty evident when you sit and look at the way that this, when you study the way that this shape is, you want that to be square. Okay, so they do not tell you to do that. Now, the other thing is I want you to show them, like right here, camera crew. See this? How it goes? No, you're gonna have to bring the thing back so they can see. See this? I wanna see this line.
Oh.
You see how it's not in alignment with our fuse? That is an unfortunate reality, but I'm not sure exactly what I can do about it. Because I can drill these holes square, but then that's gonna make it bind a little bit. And I don't know what's more critical, but you see how it doesn't spring back exactly to the center? If I let it just go off to the side, look how perfect it is. And I don't know how important that is. And so I'm just gonna be full disclosure with you all. On my plane, I'm sort of torn. I don't know if it's better to screw this in here so it's out of alignment, like right here, and then just let it be a little teeny bit cattywampus on the bottom and follow along this edge so there's a larger gap here, you see, than there is on here. This would be flush with, this here is flush and there's a gap here. But everything else is true. So I don't know what's more critical. This is more critical because then that gap is even at the top, you see? Or if it's more critical that it's free. So these are the types of things that you run into with ARFs and balsa wood planes is you're gonna have some things that are imperfect and not totally true. You can pull it to square pretty easy, and I think the servo is gonna be able to overwhelm that extra pressure. But my problem is if I make that square, I feel like everything has to work. It also limits the throw because it's like a spring then, and that's gonna be terribly hard on everything. So I almost feel like it's better to just kind of leave it like this and just let it be where it is. And then also show them this gap here. This gap is imperfect. So I think one thing you can take away from this step is that the way that I glued all this stuff together leaves just a little bit to be desired because I wanted this stuff to be glued together. And really what would have been better is if this weren't glued together at all, you could get this true, then make that decision. But it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? It's really, there are certain steps in a build of an airplane like this that, you know, you just kind of have to make a decision and go with it. Now, obviously this glue is set up and it's very sturdy and robust and there's no issue there. So it's probably not a big deal and I'm overthinking this to a large degree as usual. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna throw caution to the wind, pun intended, because it's Dancing Wings hobby. And I'm gonna put the screw in the back. So I'm gonna pick one spot where it appears to line up. I'm gonna try to center it on the fuse so I get a good bite on the body of the tail, okay? Now I'm gonna pivot and I'm gonna see if it wiggles. You see there's a point right there where it starts to wiggle that front hole, okay? So I'm gonna see if I can split the difference by moving over just a little bit. See, it still wants to pivot at the end of the throw, but I don't think we're gonna be going that far. Now you see the difference in these little bumps? One's here, one's here. So it's about 1 millimeter different. I think we're just gonna go in the center and hope for the best. So we've got our drill bit set here, and I do want to actually drill a hole. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to do it with 1/16 of an inch because this is the screw I believe that we're gonna be using, which is pretty huge. Now this is a 15 millimeter screw and they definitely call out a 15 millimeter screw on this, but that seems huge.
Yeah, it does.
That's a lot of bite and it kind of concerns me. So I'm really hoping that I don't get burned on this. But at any rate, if in doubt, if you have a hand drill, you can do this by hand. I'm gonna opt to use a drill. I've run into this before. You see my chuck? It's just barely biting. If that happens, put a little bit of piece of Scotch tape on there. Make sure you are totally perpendicular while you're doing this. See, we got a good block, but there's only a little teeny bit of depth. So it's like, why do we need to have such a huge screw that's going through such a thin material? You're only gonna get about 4 or 5 threads purchase. So I don't know. You'll run into a lot of things like that when you build Chinese models. And it's like, if this was a SIG model, you would never have that problem. But, you know, I mean, this is a new model that's designed pretty much in 2020-ish range. And that would also not be true of SIG. So anybody who knows what I'm talking about, SIG is a manufacturer that's in Montezuma, Iowa. Made by Americans. Expensive kits, very high quality, very well designed. They take time to build because they're true kits, like a lot of time to build, because you would have spent probably a month before you even got to the assembly that we started when we unboxed this thing. I know, Cam Crew, it's dangerous and scary. But you gotta remember, you know, some people are all about the build, and they actually like the build more than they like the flying because, you know, to be honest, a lot of what we bring, look at this. Maybe the compromise on this is something like this. We screw in this front and then we could almost, see if you leave this here, look at the slop where the control horn is. Okay, so this is the control horn. So let's just look at this together so you guys can see this. I had to poke the little holes out like this, see? And then the instructions for putting in these things, they come way at the end. They do talk about going to the inside on this rudder. Okay, but you imagine this being here, which, I mean, it's gonna be there in like a minute. But if you do it by the directions, you would have been doing it in like 14 steps, which I totally don't understand. So you see, now that that's square, watch how everything happens. The action is pretty good, but there, like, what you can't see is you can't see the pressure on my finger. You can if I do that, see? So if I let it off and I hit the halfway point, then there's still binding. So I'm not sure that there's a great way to get around that. And I think it has to do with the untrueness of this angle on the bottom half of this rudder. So I thought the rudder was pretty square when we put it together. So I'm just trying my best here. And then, camera crew, where is that number 2 Phillips? Let's grab the number 2 Phillips. I need a little bit more strength to get that drilled in there. Probably should have gone a little bigger than 1/16 of an inch. 5/64 happens to be our next size. So I can do that for the next hole possibly. You still want to split this wood up here. Oh yeah, it's going. I like a nice bite and purchase there, because this is a very important and critical piece. I just am surprised that this didn't line up better. I thought for sure we had it, you know? Now I can test it by tightening it in. As I tighten it, it's gonna wanna swivel. Maybe not all the way. Okay, cool. See this? Look. So that would be completely avoided. That would be avoided if this hinge was not glued yet, because it's my middle. And that is definitely gonna not be good. But you see also why I did that bend. Because that helps to alleviate that angle that would have bound right here, okay? I can probably loosen this collar too. This is just loose, so it's not actually holding anything down yet. I am gonna go ahead and just tighten this collar about a 1/4 inch, or not a 1/4 inch, about a millimeter above that. That's gonna help bear load on that plate. In fact, I do want that tight. I kind of wish this was longer in a spring and it went way out here and spread out the bite to a longer piece, and maybe have it inside of here, or even better yet, inside of here. It'd be cool to see that. So now what I have to do is I have to basically manipulate this back and forth a little bit until I get into a point where it stops doing that spring behavior. that flick behavior. See? Now it just moves back and forth. A little bit of flicking. Okay, now I'm over on the other extreme. Definitely not good. And then I get over here and that's pretty close. See how extreme that is? Mm-hmm. It's just not real hot. So I'm so torn on what the best approach is gonna be. I'm gonna go ahead and glue this in right now. So I'm gonna get a little bit of CA into that crack. And then I'm gonna reluctantly do this. These little carbon fiber pieces are, that's a critical control surface, and look how much gluing you get. Just hardly any. Okay, so yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's perfect actually.
How black on that green disappears tonight.
Oh yeah, it really does, doesn't it? So yeah, we had some different things come up this weekend, and last week we had a windstorm come through that caused me and the camera crew to have to go out and fix a tarp, which interrupted this project.
Super fun.
Yeah, it's a 30 foot by 40 foot tarp, so it's huge. Mm-hmm. And our last 30 by 40 foot tarp took less than 1 year to be destroyed.
Yep.
Fortunately for us, the company we bought it from replaced it, but I mean, I don't have high hopes for how long it's going to hold up.
No.
I think we'll be lucky to get a full year out of it, which just baffles my mind because, you know, it's like, it's over the top of hay. It's not.
It was not cheap either.
No, it was like, you know, it was, what was it, like $175 or something like that?
At least, I think.
So farmers, as usual, continue to amaze, daze, and confuse because we are, in good faith for a profit incentive, taking hay from this property, especially if the state's watching. So anyway, for those of you that have any farming operations, you'll understand exactly what we're talking about. And we have definitely had a newfound respect for farmers after we moved out here and started doing farming operations along with our other job responsibilities. Okay, so that's fairly close. But then I want to show you another thing that's happening. If you look at this, as this plays back and forth, it's just, see, it's wiggling the rudder. See that? See how it's actually changing this angle? So it's going to make a weird behavior, an asymmetrical yaw effect. I'm sure I'm probably overthinking this, but I want this to be better than that. So what you're going to do different than what we did is you're not going to glue that middle one. You're going to glue only the top one or nothing. Wait till everything is together, then go ahead and get this square and then glue it. Now the other thing you could do is you could just, you know, try to break this free, which I might be able to get lucky. Let's see if it'll go. I don't think it will. Doesn't look real promising. My camera crew is cringing at me and I was cringing inside. So I don't know that there's a whole lot better way to do that there. It's kind of one of these, like, not sure what the best move is. So part of the reason we go through this hem-haw stage of the builds with you is because if you're building a model like this, you are going to have to make some decisions that are not going to be 100% clear and obvious. And so if you expect to be able to do this without making a few decisions like that, then this model is going to be too hard for you. Do a simpler model, and I'm probably in that field actually, but I want to fly this plane bad, and I'm super excited to see those wings. I think it's going to be awesome. The other thing I could do is I could have more play on that hole. On this up here.
Oh.
I don't think that's the best option, but I just feel like I almost just need to kind of center the dang thing and just be on with it, you know? Okay. I just am afraid that it's gonna like burn out the servo holding that centered. It's always gonna want to favor one side or the other.
It does seem like it's a lot of pressure on it.
It is, yeah, it's a lot, yeah. Here, let's see if we can turn it so we can look at this close. I mean, it looks nice, but it just looks, I don't like seeing that movement. That's not good. I wonder if I could just go in there and break it free with an X-Acto knife. You think I could get that lucky?
Do you want your X-Acto? It's
Yeah.
over here.
Oh, it's over here. Thank you.
Might need to come to your other side. I'm not sure
Okay.
what you're doing.
So this is a CA hinge. And I just don't know how much purchase we have inside of here with the CA hinge. But I mean, I would say it's probably worth trying to correct that. And we can either undo this one or we can undo this one. And then I think that would allow us to true this right here. And then we can just screw it in centered.
And then how are you going to put the hinge back?
Same exact way we put it in the first time. So really what we need to do is we need to break free the CA. I mean, if you were lucky, like if you were just able to tug on this carefully and not break everything, then you might be okay. Okay, so we were looking for this screwdriver here. And what I tried, camera crew had to let the cat in real quick, so what I was trying to take this and see if I could release the CA hinge, but it's just like for once we got like a great CA hinge glue. So unfortunately I can't release it. So I'm kind of at the point now where I'm thinking of different ideas that I can do to try to get rid of this spring loaded function. And I had thought, the other thing is we could just work it a bunch of times. And if we work it a bunch of times, then over time the hinge will free to a degree. Because those CA hinges, they do what you actually break, they soak in the product, and then they do have a bit of a resistance to, like a spring to them, okay? So if you look at this, see the difference is in our case, this isn't braced yet. This is gonna get braced in a couple of minutes. In fact, the pieces are right there. If you grab them, I can show the people. No, green, the green things.
Oh, these green things, sorry.
So these braces
Oh, right.
are gonna come in here and brace this. So like that movement that you see is not gonna happen anymore. So it's gonna be even more resistant to move free. So I wonder if I need to take a minute and actually get these on to see how that interacts with that before I drill that second hole. So in fact, let's do that.
Because you think that might make it worse.
I think it might exaggerate the error in this misalignment. And then we can try to respond to that in an appropriate fashion. So again, this is why it's nice when everything is true and very specifically located. Okay, so this calls for M4 by 15.
So the same as what you just used.
I'm trying to verify that. And I'm looking in the instructions and struggling to find, that's where they talk about it. Oh, actually that's M4 by 15 is what they talk about for the bottom part. But then they don't talk about what's installing this. They just have you guess. Now I can tell you for sure it's not that. Now why would it not be this? Because it doesn't even fit through the hole. So we have to go back to these. Plus we're going through real small cross members, okay? Okay, so we're just gonna pour out a total of 4 of those. These ones are quite a little bit smaller. And we'll just drop those back in. Now, in order to do this, I'm probably, and this is true of Dancing Wings planes, if you get them, they're usually pretty good, but not perfect on this. Because watch this, when these are together, you would think that they would be true. Look, they're not, okay? So I'm on a flat surface here, and look at the difference. So these are not square. They're close, but not totally. So good luck bending that once you get it screwed in. So you need to get this worked out before you even put them up there, okay? So I'm gonna hold this down on the counter, which is a nice solid surface. And then I'm gonna hold this down on the counter. And big shout out to our patrons, guys. These long videos, I'm sure there's 4 trillion ads that YouTube has added to these. But that makes us about 10 cents. So we apologize for that. And if you want to help support us in our efforts to bring you guys long format, step by step. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was going to see if you could. Thank you. I'll explain more about that later, guys. But anyway, these long format videos are challenging, and the special shout out was going to be to our patrons for helping to support us in our efforts to do this. And so really a small group of people have stepped up and helped a lot with that, and we appreciate you guys. If you want to become one of the Patreons or patrons, then you can click in the video description below. We'll have a link. Also, we haven't talked a lot about it because it's not something that we're totally done with, and it probably will never really be totally done. Okay. It's going to be a work in progress. We have our BrianPhillipsRC.com website live right now. If you haven't seen it, you can go there. And what it does is it helps to organize all this stuff in one-stop shop, and then you guys can follow the links there to purchase the planes, and then you'll be supporting our channel in that way. You can go through all the old links, and they're the exact same links. The only difference is you can reverse engineer back to another video. It might be a little easier for you to disseminate exactly what you're trying to find, especially if you're looking for a plane that's real similar to another plane that we've reviewed. So anyway, that's a cool thing that's coming. Okay, now let's talk about where this is going to get screwed in. This is at the trailing edge of the vertical stabilizer according to the drawings, and you'll note that you have just about, this is all solid. Feels like that whole thing's solid. So this is not going to be your delimitation. You want this to make your determination, because this is triangle, this is a triangle, this is a triangle. So you basically have to be on this little area here, okay? So what I want to do is I want to get this laid out, okay? And then I want to get this pushed right into position where it's going to end up. And I want to make sure that I have those marked, okay? Then when I screw it in, it's not going to be a problem. Now also, I want you to think about something. When you screw this screw through here, and you align this, oh goodness gracious, there's glue in this hole. What the heck? Look.
Right. Oh, there is.
Oh, jeez. China. Thank you, China. Next time, screw out the hole, China. Okay, let's look again. Look, now there's a hole.
Oh, good.
So when you pass this screw through here, maybe you have to be thinking about the tailwind brackets. Okay, so install the tailwind bracket as shown on the left, meaning the left here. Fix it with self-tapping screws. Okay, again, China,
Super
give us
specific.
better directions. What's gonna happen is this screw is gonna pass through, okay? Everybody's happy, right? Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's longer than the
Look.
thing is wide.
Okay, this is the same thickness.
Right.
So how the heck are you gonna do that when these are lined up together? Are you gonna go all the way through, and then what are you biting on the other side? Do you see what I'm saying now?
Magic.
Exactly. So what you're probably gonna have to do is you're gonna have to go through there like that, and then you're gonna have to do like a threaded bolt with a nut on the other side. And they did not mention that anywhere in the instructions, so I'm guessing we don't have that. So we'll have to break out probably the Rtl Fasteners stuff. And again, this is another shameless plug for Rtl Fasteners. Rtl Fasteners comes in real handy on stuff like this. Unfortunately for us, we didn't have an Rtl Fastener screw that was, or excuse me, a nut that was big enough to fix our short nut on the wheels, the landing gear.
And I'm sure they have one. We
They
just
have
didn't
it.
have one
We
in
just
our
didn't
kit.
find it in our kit because it was not quite big enough. Okay, so my next step is gonna be, let's go ahead and just make a determination where this is gonna hit. Okay. So now my next step, of course, is to get this screwed from this point. Okay. Make sure you double, triple, quadruple check this, because you're only going to get one chance. Once it's in there, you may not be able to get it back out. I've found that sometimes you can't get these things back out usually. Okay, now normally I wouldn't be super worried about this, but you know what else is nice? Look at that. We're going to give ourselves some extra support on our CA hinge. Okay, remember, there ain't much material there, so I don't recommend doing a big pilot hole on this. If you do, you're probably gonna regret it. because you're not gonna have enough to purchase. You're not gonna have enough to actually get that to bite. So I just started the hole so I can get the threads to take. And then the CA hinge is gonna be the next problem you run into, because here I'm trying to screw and there's nothing to push against. Son of a biscuit lever. So I probably need to try to strike through that with the tip of my X-Acto knife. So I can go even smaller, and yes, my finger is off to the side, so there we go. Once you have it pierced, you can probably get it to go. Just some of these little finite skills that you have, some of you old timers that do models, you are gonna be more skilled and more capable of this because you've been doing it for years. And all these little skills that you build up over the years really do come in handy. And this is an art form, really. Putting these little planes together. You see how convenient all this is?
Can I hold the...
Probably not.
Okay.
I wish I could have you hold it. Thank you for offering, but I just don't think it's gonna work. Okay, now you'll note that this also does a second thing. Look where that's gonna hit.
What?
It's gonna hit in the CA hinge. So again, I like the robustness of that and the fact that it's gonna give us a really strong purchase. And I want you to avoid the possibility of running into the same problem I did, but look how much clearance you still have before you hit right here. See where I am? So the other thing you might opt to do if you really want to make this thing stronger and maybe slightly less beautiful is you may opt to bring this forward slightly so that you can true it up with a triangle. Also, this is the point where you can sit here and move your wing up and down for support. You see what I've done here? I move this out to the middle, right? Or if I need to pull it down, I can push it down a little bit. If I need to pull it up, I can push it up a little bit. I'm gonna push it down and I'm just gonna true it by eye. Just like that, okay? This is where experience comes in handy, of which I have less than some of you guys watching, but I probably have more than others. So it's just like any other strange, what the world would consider a useless skill that I happen to have some of. Okay? I don't think this is a useless skill. I think it's an awesome skill. And there's so many things that you will do in this RC hobby that will help make you a better mechanical person, a better carpenter, a better electrician, a better, programmer, or whatever it is that whatever skill that you're into, or whatever you use for your day job, for instance, maybe. This is gonna help to complement a lot of that. And then those skills are gonna help to complement your ability to do this. And I think that's partly why there's so many blue collar workers that like to get into this hobby. Okay, so now you see this is wanting to twist as that screw gets in there and bites. So what I have to do is I have to resist that. You see what's happening? It's gonna bite into that aluminum, okay? So what you can do is you can also back this whole thing off. Yes, I realize I may be taking the screw out, so this could be a temporary thing. See, I'm just walking it out until it goes up tight against the frame of the rudder. Now I can go back. Oh, it's a vertical stabilizer, not rudder. The rudder's moving, of course. Now I can torque it down. You see how it's twisting? I'm not gonna be able to tighten that anymore. Okay, remember, the reason we did that was because I wanted to see how that impacts our rudder play. See what's going on? Now look what's happening. It's pulling the elevator up. I knew that was gonna happen. So what that means is, ultimately, first things first, I have to get that second one on there and see if it still pulls it up, and it probably will. And what we can do is we can just stick this on over here.
How far did that screw come through? Oh, quite a ways.
Potentially enough that we could just thread it on there, I guess, maybe. So the way I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna take, goodness gracious. I'm gonna take and just keep drilling this and let the aluminum get cut out by the screw. That's not a good idea. I would not recommend doing that. Now I'm gonna just feed this on there for exact placement. I can screw it on because it's got a little teeny bite on the aluminum. This thing is made of aluminum. In case that weren't already obvious. Kind of hard to see what materials they are because sometimes they look like they're steel. And if they were steel, it'd be like incredibly heavy for an aircraft like this, especially this size. Now I can look with this neutral. I can look and see where we're looking at hitting. So you see we're looking at hitting right about in the center, which is good. That's what we want to see. I mean, that's good. So now I can take and got to get your finger out of the way so you don't get stabbed. On the other one, I only cut it with the tip of my X-Acto knife. So this one might go through a little bit easier. It did give me something to bite, so hopefully I didn't take too much out. Okay, so remember these are the small screws. The same screws that we used on a bunch of other stuff. What was the other stuff we used them for? I feel like we used them for a bunch of stuff so far. Oh yeah, that feels good.
Well, we did the braces up here.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Were those small screws too. Those white pieces that held in the landing
gear.
Yep,
that's right, on the center, yep. Okay, cool, so now I'm just looking at this and it feels like the elevator is nice and solid. There's less deflection up and down on that as this moves, which is perfect. We want to do import. Now watch what happens. Conversely, see what happens? Changes as the rudder moves, this is gonna happen. Now that may be okay, it may be neutral, but I think what's gonna happen is it's gonna tend to bind the elevator to a degree. It's actually not making a big impact. I feel like the servo could counter it. These are little servos though, they're not huge. They're only 9-gram servos. And they're definitely not Metal Gear. Definitely not. Thanks, Raymond. Okay, so let's take a look at this now. That's a lot of work to put one screw in, guys. Because I feel like, okay, again, reverse engineer, undo those 2 glue joints, no problem. Don't build it like the instructions, build it like I did. Not build it. Don't glue that, and this won't be a problem. Move this until your heart's content and everything is free, and that's when you're gonna decide exactly where to glue it, and you're gonna get it right where you want it. You're gonna have probably an unusual opening here. It might even go from like 0 to hero, or it might go from hero to 0. But whatever the point is, your mechanical action will be true and mine won't. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to put this at an angle like we talked about, and I'm gonna find the sweet spot where it doesn't make anything move, and I can see it by just looking at the elevator now. Look, see?
Yeah.
Eventually it stops making everything move. See? There's a spot where it's gonna move the least. And then there's spots where it's gonna exaggerate that movement. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Nope, see, walking, and then over here, it's way bound. Yeah, it definitely moves it a lot. I feel like over here is where it's gonna end up having to be, because that's where it wanted to be neutrally. Ooh. See, it just lifts it up a lot. Mm-hmm. So just trying to find that sweet spot where it doesn't fight me anymore. Dang, that's way over before it kind of stops. Looks bad. See how far over it is? I feel like that might be the good compromise right there. And that looks about like what we started with. There's still definitely some spring tension. And this whole thing does ebb still, so I'm not thrilled with that. Now watch what happens when I undo this screw, guys. Let's just do this real quick. Did I put CA on this when I started it?
No.
I probably thought about it.
I don't think you did.
See that?
Ooh.
But then, yeah, we can't leave it like that. It's too much play. Just a little bit. Wonder if I could also bend this to true, the whole structure. As in bend here. Like watch this. Pull this back toward us. Just a little bit. Okay. Let's see what happened. Yeah, that made it not any better. See, I'm just as I'm shifting left and right, just trying to find this, strike the balance between sucky and less sucky. I just feel like there's not really a good middle ground at all. Super disappointed with this. This is not what I expected to happen. Tough call on this. What are your thoughts, camera crew?
I mean, I understand your concern. I'm having a hard time figuring out what's going to help it.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem, nothing you seem to do.
Makes it better.
No,
yeah.
It's like you said, it's kind of like, what's the least sucky thing?
Yeah, and it's like, if you're going to eat a crap flavored sandwich, I mean, which flavor of crap do you prefer? Would you like?
Yeah.
I may have changed the words a little bit.
Is there a cheaper version?
I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm gonna take this screw out, I think, is my next move. I'm gonna just like legit just take it out.
Okay.
I wanna see what happens to this whole movement, this whole action. And I wanna see if there's maybe a little bit that can be done to help make this work better. And then when we put it back in, we can go ahead and line the hole with CA. Remember, you're not trying to glue the screws in, you're trying to almost kind of like make a pocket with the CA. And so what I've always found that works good if you can do it is to put the CA on, run it in, and then like pull it out, put it back in like a minute later if you can. It's like the best thing to do. See, now look at this. Look, nothing. Look, nothing. No movement here, or just extremely minimal. It's just mostly me moving it.
So.
Oh, son of a biscuit. You see what I did?
What?
I should have turned that in before. You see? Because this is now glued, and look, now I don't have that. I don't have that in there. Son of a gun. I may have to pop this out just to get that slid in there. You see this, guys?
Do you have to?
Yes.
Is there not a thing that goes on that?
No, the thing goes on the other end. It goes on the servo.
Oh.
Okay. Let's talk about that for a minute before we screw something else up. On the elevator, watch what I'm gonna do. This is the elevator control arm. You're gonna basically, this goes on the outside hole, correct? That's on the outside. Looks like it?
Looks like it to me.
Okay, this one's on the inside for the rudder. So what I should have done is I should have fed this on like this. So my apologies, folks.
Oh,
some of these.
For serious?
Yeah, for serious. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. Okay, so now we can glue that. And guys, I'm sorry, that was totally my screw up there. I mean, and then look how crappy that action is. That is terrible. So we gotta fix that too. Goodness gracious. This is like one of the things that you find really quick with an ARF is that nothing is as simple as you think. It's like a 30-second step. Yeah. We had the exact same conflict when we did the PT-17, and that's part of the reason why it took us 40 hours to build it. Actually, it was quite a bit more than 40 hours, wasn't it, by the time it was all said and done? Mm-hmm. Or wait, maybe it was about 40 hours. And so we did a time lapse, and I know at least one person got mad about that. So, and we have long since forgiven ourselves for doing a time lapse, because really on some of these more intense builds, it's just like, this is gonna be such a long video. Like even for a long format channel, it's like too long still. And
it's a lot to, I mean, just
the camera crew
process is.
Camera crew has other things she needs to be doing. And like, I mean, I love doing this stuff, but she just loves me, so she does it. Okay, so watch this. I'm gonna brace this here. But it's like, these are the steps that help people that don't know what's going on, haven't ever done it. So it's like we try to kind of strike the balance between totally putting you to sleep. Although, you know what we should do? We should get a sponsor.
We should.
We should get a sponsor for like
Melatonin,
Unisom or what's another brand? Should like go hard after them. Like, having trouble sleeping? Take this narcotic medication. Brian Phillips RC will help. Consult your doctor first.
We're like the drug-free alternative.
The drug-free alternative, yeah. Tired of being addicted to the narcotic pain medications?
Just watch.
The sleeping pills or whatever it is? Yes, just watch Brian Phillips RC. It's the all-natural alternative.
You're gonna have to talk in a more soothing voice though.
All-natural alternative.
Not whisper.
Oh, dang it. Son of a biscuit. You know, it would be funny if you were watching one of those videos And then it went to the next Brian Phillips RC video, and I was like screaming like,
Yes.
you're welcome, people on headphones. So you see this? It's almost like I did that just to annoy him. That would have been such a jerky thing to do. If you're watching this deep into my RC video, you're one of our regulars, so I can annoy you all day long. If not, you're definitely not one of the regulars. Maybe they're just doing like, they're just like, you know, one of those YouTube stories. I see these all the time. I always love these stories. They do these like MTV cribs, like Brian Phillips RC becomes a multi-millionaire making RC videos. I watched one the other day on a couple I follow. I watched Life Uncontained, which really cool channel. And the couple built, you know, a container house. And of course, I always see these stupid things come up, and there's some like, you know, dude that's sitting on his basement and couch in his mom's house. And he's like, look at the millions of dollars these people made on their YouTube channel. It's just like clip after clip of like corporate sequences where people are like sitting in meetings talking like this. And I'm like, where do you guys get this stock footage from? It's so garbage. And then they're like, due to our extra efforts, we have figured out exactly what they earn. And I'm like, you have no clue what they've earned. They probably earned a lot less than you think, and they probably deserve more. But anyway, I'm sure they probably make pretty good money on their YouTube channel with a couple million subscribers. You make pretty good income. But, you know, when you're in the lowly ranks like Brian Phillips RC, where you're doing 6-hour videos, you know, it's almost like, you know, like when you're driving down the interstate and you exit and there's that guy that's got his hand out and he's like, out of gas, need money for gas. And really, you know, they're going to go get booze with it or crack or whatever it is they get. And so you're like, whatever, I'm just gonna help the dude out, you know? He probably just really needs to hit a crack. And so, so that's what you know, when they do our expose video, you know, that's what it's gonna be like. So you guys, you're here first. You're here first on Brian Phillips RC. I don't even need an expose. You know, it's like, if you see me begging on the corner, you'll understand why. It's because I was trying to quit my day job to do this. Oh boy. Anything else you want to add to that, camera crew?
I was gonna say.
Have I embarrassed us enough yet?
On a roll.
On a roll. Yeah, this is what happens when you get into a build 6 hours. It's like we're really just testing the viewers.
Just testing
we're
you
testing
to
them.
see how
we're testing them.
really.
It's like if it doesn't show up in the comments, we know you didn't watch. It's like, Brian, this is a family show. Well, families pass homeless people on the side of the road that are gonna go buy crack with the money that you give them, you know? It's like, come on. We're realists here on Brian Phillips RC. There's other wholesome RC channels if you really want one. At least one. They're super wholesome. Anyway, getting back to the point. Okay, so you may have noticed that I'm building up the CA and then doing a little bit of kicker and then building up the CA and doing a little bit of kicker. That's what we did on the other one. My wife was letting the cat in and I had glued the top a little bit more. So basically, what you end up with, which by the way, look at what the cats did to this. They pulled these off the counter like 7 times. Because there's nothing better than when cats find something they want to play with, and then you're like, get down, get off of there. What do you think you own this joint? And they're like, shut up, human. Shut up, I will knock these things down. I don't care if you yell. I'll knock it down again while you sleep. Then I'll eat you. Well, I'll come back to that after you stop beating me. That's what the cat said.
Did you pick them up this morning too? Or did you?
I picked them up like 3 times. Okay, so look at that. That action is pretty dang clean. Okay.
Well, that looks a lot better.
That looks a ton better. Okay. So you'll note that when this is being actuated from forward, you made a little bit more error. Okay, in the play. So don't take for granted that that thing is going to line up, because I'm telling you right now, it is not going to line up until you make it line up.
That's true. Lots of things. How much glue are you putting on there?
More. That much. So for those of you at home that are wondering, what the heck did we just witness? You haven't been watching our channel long enough.
Nope. Did you see the picture of our youngest kid with our youngest cat this morning?
I did. It was amazing. It was so cute. But anyway, so we have 4 children, and our youngest cat, show him over there. He's now, is that our youngest cat?
Well, Technically, Cinder is technically the youngest. Ash is like 2 weeks older. Those
yeah,
are the kittens
but
that we
he's
have.
yeah, right. But they're the same batch. No, those are different batches. But that cat, that guy's huge. He's probably like
Yeah, the
12
all gray
or 13
one.
pounds.
He's like 12 pounds at least.
But he's like the nicest, dumbest one that we have. So I really like him. He's like our dog cat.
Drags him around under his arms all the time.
Yeah, and the cat's like, leave me alone.
Kind of like a big lump.
I hate it when you do this, but I'm not going to attack you because then that guy will eat me. That's probably what he's thinking.
We have 4 cats.
It's
Four
funny, the
kids.
boys, everybody's like, I don't want a tomcat, he'll mark. And I'm like, yeah, maybe. But boys,
Our boy cats have
boys
been so
love
nice.
us. They're
Yeah.
the nicest cats. And they do tend to cause other cats to come from your female cats. Is that how that works?
I think so.
I just figured that out.
Took us a while to figure
That's how we ended up with 11.
11.
Wow. That is so much better without the play. Look at that.
So, okay, so what are you going to do?
I'm just like not sure. I feel like maybe what I need to do is I almost just kind of need to like, maybe if I did the front hole, look how much better that looks though. Imagine that being legit braced there. I feel like that's just what we got to do. I feel like that's the only option. Do you?
I mean, that looked a lot better.
It looked a million times better. I don't know. Maybe that hole up at the top was just not agreeing with us.
So
just
start
not
with
sure.
the inside hole?
Yeah, and then, if the inside hole doesn't do it, you can go to the outside hole and see if you live. Sorry, got something in my throat.
I'm-
Woo! That was some penetration.
It's in the manual.
It is truly in the manual. Okay, so now if that other hole doesn't work out, then I'm not sure. Like, well, maybe we'll just
I don't know.
put the screw back in and let it screw up the threads or something. I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure what we're gonna do on that yet. But guys, some of the RC stuff that we do, it's just, like, hey, look at us open this box. And then honestly, a lot of you guys are gonna be like, what are you talking about, Brian? That's not assembly. I'll show you assembly. Look at this balsa tree here. I'm in Indonesia today on Tuesday. I'm taking this balsa tree with my hacksaw that I built from scratch. I smelted it. And I'm like, yeah, okay, you win. Look at it. Look how perfect this is. It's amazing. It was the perfect call. Look, why? I don't get it.
I don't either.
I don't get it.
So annoying.
It's like, did I not have it? You know what I didn't have? I didn't have these things in first. So again, instructions let me down big time. Brace it first. Don't glue your CA hinges, except you gotta have those glued in because that's where the freaking screw goes through.
Can I have my 48 minutes back?
No. No, it was a perfect call. Don't ask again.
It does look a lot better.
No, it's like a million times better. I mean, now we just gotta fix the rotor I screwed up. How the heck are we gonna do that? That's gonna be like impossible. Look.
Well, okay, wait.
No, I'm serious, Law. Look. You know what we could do? We could put another one of those easy things.
Easy things.
The easy things like this.
Yeah. But we have to make sure we have enough.
Well, we have 1, 2,
How,
3,
is that-
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if they gave us extras, what the heck of that? And then they left our nuts out. I just wanted one nut.
Okay, but that's like in there. Your control horn is glued in.
Oh my good lordy. I know what you're doing inside. I am too. You're cringing. Oh, good Lord, that is so strong. What the heck? Why is it that when you want CA to fail, it's like,
It never.
not happening today. I've done this before. And then when you want it to break, how often do you want it to break? Like when you screwed something up, basically?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, CA's like that too. It's like, I'm hanging on. Last thing attached on this plane after a 1,000,000-mile-an-hour crash is gonna be that control horn. Oh geez, I'm gonna get stabbed. I just know I'm stabbing my eye on that. Safety first, people.
Seriously. Are trying to avoid injury.
Oh, good lordy lord. That is in there so good. Holy crap. That's CA. Oh yes, it's delaminating. It's coming. Ooh, woo, woo. Up, down, breaks the CA free. Yes. Please come out.
It's a boy.
Yes, thank you. You stole my line. Okay, now we're gonna fix that. Slide this all the way out. It goes to the inside hole. Oh boy, that's a tight fit. That's a tight fit. Oh yes. Now you'll note that there's a little bit of schmutz and stuff here. We'll just knock that right off. Yep, a little bit of schmutz there. Oops, sorry, camera crew. Now watch this. It was a perfect car. It was perfect. Nothing could be better. Ooh, look at that binding. Goodness gracious. See, it's like stretching out the holes. It goes in and out. Wow. Okay. We are gonna bend that. Oh crap, I gotta mark it. Because there's no way I can guesstimate that. Okay, so this is full penetration. Hey, I gotta mark the penetration marks.
Was that helpful?
Oh, no, I was just giving you a hard time. There's full extraction, okay? So now that I have that information, and guys, listen, part of the reason you watch Brian Phillips RC is for the amazing commentary.
Yes.
And then the other part is all the awesome things that the camera crew says. But what I'm doing here, this is, some of you are gonna see it like fly by night. Like, well, that guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Well,
I didn't realize you would pick up so quick.
when there's no...
The instructions are crappy, okay? It's a Chinese plane. What do you expect? They're gonna suck.
Way better than a Dynam.
Oh yeah, the difference between this and a Dynam is that when this is done, this thing is gonna be rock solid, beautiful, and it'll be around for your grandkids.
Yeah.
And a Dynam might make it to Friday.
Maybe.
If you fly it, all bets are off.
Right now.
You know, like if you actually do anything with it. Oh yes. Ooh, oh wow. Ooh, I think I made it worse.
Wait, you did?
Yeah, I feel like, well no, I didn't make it worse, it's better. But what I need to do is I probably needed to carry this out just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit more.
So I don't think it's worse.
Break that off. So, did you hear about the slap? By chance?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Good old Will Smith. Will Smith and Jade. All our love goes to you. You guys have the most weird relationship ever.
Was that?
It was Chris Rock made a joke.
No, I know.
He made a joke about her bald head. I'm pretty sure.
Like,
you know,
staged? everybody
in Hollywood like Brian Phillips RC, obviously, with our camera crews. I don't know. You suppose if I got Will over here to smack me viciously?
People would be like, who cares? Why no one would care?
I'd be like,
I'm sorry.
I know, but it would be hilarious. It would be good. We should get Esteban over here.
I've only seen it one time in like actual video.
I know.
Seen a bunch of pictures, and
it looked like he kind of missed him. Like it was a little bit staged.
Yeah.
Although Will did cry a little bit when he got up.
Oh.
He's trying to make people love each other. And you know, like Will Smith seems like a decent guy and everything.
Well, never mind.
Not sure I'm such a huge fan of their marriage, but
I was gonna say.
a lot of people think ours is terrible, but that's okay. You don't know.
That's okay. Yep.
They have the right to their opinion.
Even if it's wrong.
Even if it's completely wrong. It was a perfect car. It was perfect. There was no mistakes. I keep coming back to the call. The call was very important. Okay. We didn't need a probe. All right, let's look at this. Inside hole.
Okay.
Inside hole. You guys may not see what I'm doing, but I'm going like down, zigging down, and then zigging back up to get clearance. Because clearance, this is what you have to do if you want your plane to work better than it could if you don't do it. I gotta split the difference. I feel like I just didn't get it quite enough. So I gotta go out just a hair further, okay? And then I gotta try this. I mean, if you shaved your head and somebody made fun of your haircut, you know, I would probably be like, yeah, I know, it's kind of, I'm not a big fan of it either. Because that's pretty much what the joke was, right?
Oh, I didn't even hear the joke.
He said something like, G.I. Jane 2, when's G.I. Jane 2 coming out?
I thought he was like making fun of
But see, I
their
don't know,
marriage
like,
or something.
no,
the
that's
G.I.
what I
Jane
thought
thing.
too. Yeah, but it's because I think she was like bald or something.
Hasn't she always had, or she's had super short hair before?
I didn't recognize that. But anyway, so Will was having none of it.
No.
He was like, I'm gonna go out and protect the
tell how
honor
much
of my woman
You can tell how much we pay attention to what's going on
in Hollywood.
Hollywood.
I know. I'm just still.
Is it getting better?
I flipped it around. I don't know if you noticed that. Did you see I flipped it upside down to see if it would help?
Oh.
Yeah, just because I wasn't a big fan. Now this is just a straight rod that goes all the way through. So when we're done on the other end, the reason we can do this now is because we're gonna have one of these things.
On the other side.
Yeah, so it's good.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, so if you guys aren't, you're probably watching this like 2 years later. Now we're talking about Will Smith.
No idea what's
It's like
going on.
when we get to the Will Smith move, you
Yeah.
know, we've run out of things to talk about. So anyway. All right, let's try this. Yeah, see, I feel like it's definitely not elongating. See how it's not opening the hole as it moves? But I think it's allowed to play a little bit more.
Still binding a little bit, isn't it?
It kind of is.
Sounds like
yeah,
it.
I mean, well, yeah, it is a little bit. It is a little bit. I'm gonna see if I can correct that here. Just a little bit of bend down, and then a little bit of bend up, and a little bit of bend up, and then square this here. Okay, so we'll try this. So you see how it's like up a little bit and then down. And by the way, this carbon fiber on your hands, you don't wanna like just let that hang out and get that stuff off of there. It'll make you itchy.
Oh.
Oh yeah, unless you're a machine. If you're a robot, you'll love it. You'll be like, ooh, carbon fiber, that's delicious. That looks pretty dang good. I feel like that's gonna be good. And I mean, the resistance is just pretty minuscule.
Less. It's a lot
It's
less
a
than it
lot
was.
less. Yeah, I think we're gonna be good, but it's like once you get this, it's done. I almost wonder if I need to make a bend like this. Ugh. I cringe at doing all these bends, and you guys should too, because really, to be honest, it's like if you can get it without a bend, it's better. But like if it needs to be bent, it needs to be bent. There's just nothing you can, you just gotta bend it a little bit. If it needs to be bent a little bit, then you need to bend it a little bit. I don't like doing that any more than I like recommending that you do it. Oh yeah, that's like, see, it's free on one side and not on the other now.
The other.
That's what I was afraid of. That's okay, we'll fix that right now. You gotta try it, because once you glue this, it's in there until you break it.
We can't forget to glue it back in though.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna forget to glue it back in. So camera crew. What do you think of this build so far? Tell us what you really think.
Oh, I think the people really know what I think. But
I also think this thing's gonna be sweet when it's done.
right, and that's like what you said. It's you go through the effort and then you have a good quality, cool plane at the end.
Yeah, and not like something that's gonna be, and you know, we've worked with a lot of different companies, the affiliates and stuff that we work with, the companies, the manufacturers, the vendors, whatever you wanna call them.
Right.
Like we don't try to hide behind that. Like if we were doing all this on our own, like you guys would get like 1/10 of the videos that we put out.
Right.
And so, you know, there's occasionally we get haters that are like, oh, I can't believe you would ever take a free plane. Like, are you freaking kidding me?
Like,
if somebody offered you a
you
free
would take a
plane
free
and you
plane
don't say
too.
yes, you're an idiot.
The thing that's hard about builds
Idiot and liar.
like this, yeah, for sure.
Not you,
When-
camera crew.
If you.
The person
Well,
on the
I'm
other
neither
side
of
the
those
camera
things.
that thinks that.
These, I mean, they just take a lot of our time. And it's one thing if you're sitting here at the island.
That's awesome.
And we're
Look at this. I'm sorry.
making dinner and the
See,
kids are
I
playing.
just cut off the camera crew. I must really hate her.
So
That was vicious.
So rude.
That was vicious. Just think if Will Smith was here, I'd have to like cover my face. I'd be like, he's coming. Yeah, so like if the kids need assistance.
If the kids are hanging out and I'm making dinner and we have music on and we're just all hanging out.
We like to listen to music.
This whole process is not.
It's totally a fun thing. It's like a relaxing, like, hey, I'm just kind of doing this. They're kind of doing their thing.
But when
you're filming and you can't do copyright violations,
right?
Which I got hit for a video a long time ago, where I was working on a P51 UMX Ultra Micro Extreme.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, and they found some random like ghost, gravity remix matrix, like what do they call that? Like techno jazz.
I don't know.
That was in the other room in the middle of the night on Pandora. And boy, those are the songs that will get you because those guys always hire the best lawyers. And they're like, oh, we heard our song. We want credit for the entire 1 hour video, or excuse me, like 2 hour video.
Whatever it was.
And it was like for 30 seconds you could make it out because I shut up while I was soldering.
Yeah.
And so my mic picked it up. It should be what's called fair use, but it wasn't. So anyway, and so I just like took the audio out.
Yeah. But when we film, then it's.
That looks so much better.
It looks a lot better.
Like, look, both of them. No deflection now.
I'm just saying.
Guys, that was a humongous pain in the butt. Wait till we do those. There's only, what?
Do you know how long that took?
Don't tell me. An hour?
Yeah.
Best hour we ever spent. I am serious though about this, guys. If you intend to build this model and you don't think it's gonna take, if you think it's gonna take like 10 minutes, we didn't see the manual say a 10-minute build. What did it say? It was hilarious. That PT17 said build video. It was like build time was like
40 minutes or something.
40 minutes. And I'm like, you meant hours or days, right?
Yeah.
And I felt like we blew through that thing, like we went really fast on that because we, like, instead of using epoxy on all these things, we use like CA. And for the record, guys, we have used CA for a lot of things that some of you guys are like, you can't use CA. Yeah, I mean, you kind of can. CA is pretty strong substance.
And you don't have to use CA if you don't want to.
No, you can, and we're not telling you that you shouldn't use epoxy if you prefer it. What we are saying is that, like if your CA is in good shape and it's not like 2 years old, sitting in your, plastic bag of stuff that you got when you first got into the hobby, and you probably bought it on week 2 of your addiction.
Yeah, we have no idea what
that's what
like.
It is. That's why these bottles don't have labels, because I've like refilled them. See, it says like new, 12/29 of 2015. It's not actually then. I actually refilled that, but I crack them open.
And
like see how that's still running? You guys already know that. It's got the uncut tap.
Yep.
That's the way I make it last. And then I suck the air out of it before I recap it.
And then you save all your garbage bottles.
You don't have to give away all my secrets. You weren't supposed to talk about this. Don't tell me the embarrassing stuff. I'm just kidding. What are you talking about, Brian? Half of the stuff you say is embarrassing. Well, yeah.
What are you doing? I'm
gluing the other side of this rudder now.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna make it impervious to any environmental impact, including crashes. It's like it could, I was gonna say a joke, but then I'm like, people might think that's insensitive. If they think it's insensitive, again, probably not watching this video. Because that's what I do best. Resist the urge, Brian, resist the urge. You can be
super sensitive.
Yeah, I can be, but not for these guys. Just for you, honey.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, so this is good. That's gonna set up. I hope they're getting a good view of this, camera crew, so that.
Oh man.
I know. It's like there's only room for one face here.
Yeah.
Now you see what I did? I put the CA on thick and let it run down to the carbon fiber. Okay. Then what I was doing is I was trying to get this one string. And there's other channels out there. You guys, we don't live in a vacuum. We know there's other channels where you can get your fix. But we want you to come back here because it's gonna be a better fix. It's gonna be more addictive. You're gonna love it more. It's gonna be like the perfect phone call. Perfect. Okay, so now I can see the screw coming through. You wanna show the people? Mm-hmm. I've decided the solution.
You're gonna glue it. Oh, did I say that already? I was going to suggest that.
Did you actually say it?
I was going to. I don't know if I did.
No, it's okay. I mean, the only reason I'm gluing this is because honestly, I don't care. It's good enough. It's gonna work fine. And this is gonna look just fine because honestly, like a bulky bolt and nut, it's just gonna look ugly. It's gonna look uggo. It's not gonna be perfect. Right, now I'm gonna flip it over and get the sticky stuff on the tip. We haven't done that for a while.
True.
On this video. Right there. Now, why would you do that, guys? Huh?
So your screw doesn't unscrew.
Well, that's one option. But really, the reason you would do that is because you want it to have a little bit of backing also. I mean, so it doesn't come back off easily. That's true. Because like this is sort of like a pseudo-structural component. Pseudo-structural component.
Pseudo-structural.
Pseudo-structural. This is where people would be like, you're so arrogant. It's like, because I use the word pseudo.
Okay, spell pseudo-structural. Just kidding.
I'm not gonna spell that. Google spells things for me. Because I don't spell word things.
Nope, that's true.
So anyway, yeah, we have all types on this channel. Usually our favorites, they don't last long because we're just like, buy it. And then there's some do-gooder that's like, oh, I can't believe you don't let people sit there and talk bad about you. Yeah, because I got better things to do with life. That is really good though. I'm like super happy with that.
How much
that was terrible.
Like,
it was so crappy.
Was.
Holy cow. But look at the angle. Look at the angle of the angle. Look, right. Look. See this? How perfect that is? Yeah. Perfect. Now I'm gonna twist it.
Don't mess
Watch.
with it.
Just look. It's still. How can that be? That doesn't even make sense. I truthfully do not get that. I mean, I'm really happy about it too. So now, how do we fix that, camera crew? So we have two options. Okay. One, we can try to get a screw to go back in there, and guess what's gonna happen? As soon as I start threading it, it's gonna go whoop.
Yep.
And it's gonna go to the point where it goes.
Okay, what's option two? I don't like that one. No.
We're just gonna ream it. And if this doesn't work, I have a backup plan. You always gotta have a backup plan if you insert things into new holes.
Yes.
Like
a good exit strategy.
Really good exit strategy. Okay. So let's check this out. Check this out. Check this out. Check this out. What the heck? How does this work now? That is so nutty. You guys saw how terrible that thing worked.
It was really terrible.
It was like really bad.
So just build your whole tail section in the backwards order of the directions and you'll be good.
Yeah, just build it completely in the opposite direction. And then the last screw you put in, like watch, when I tighten this head, watch this. It's gonna like take the whole thing. And then I'll show you when that happens. Now watch what happens, watch. What the heck? How is that perfect? Guys, you saw how big of a dilemma we were having. That is awesome. Show them from over here so they can see the deflection. Watch the deflection, folks. No. Watch this. Okay, you ready?
What?
Watch. I'm gonna grab the rods. Okay. Look at that. How perfect that is. Okay, now watch the other one. Hold on. They're kind of close. Now watch, I'm gonna grab both of the rods at the same time. Ooh, it's kind of busy day. That is so cool. I love it. So then a side view, and see my hand fills this whole thing, so it's kind of hard to.
Yeah.
That is awesome, guys. I thought that was gonna be so garbagey. Huh! From just one hole being like a millimeter off. That's nuts. Okay. Oh man, by the way, behold the beauty. That is sweet. This is normally what it looks like when we open it out of the box, by the way. So like, Dancing Wings might want to rethink your build level.
So 8 hours
I mean, is that it? Only 8 hours?
No, I think it's been long.
I thought it was more than that. I mean, our videos, this is gonna be terrible. It's gonna take like 4 years to upload this file.
I know.
Which, by the way, for those of you at home that have never uploaded a video to YouTube, when they're that long, they take a long time.
Especially when they're in 4K.
Yeah, and if you have crap internet because you're out in the sticks.
So happy 2024.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. Okay, so now I'm gonna bring this screw in and just tighten it. I am so happy with the way that turned out though.
I can't believe that actually worked out that well.
Surprised.
I'm happy for you.
I'm happy for us. I hear meowing. I wonder what they're meowing about.
They're happy for you.
They're like, meow, good job. Why is it clicking now? Okay, anyway, all right, so that's awesome. Super happy with the tail. Cannot believe that turned out well as it did. I was not thinking that was gonna be great. Okay, so now that we're done with that step, there's only about 4 left.
Liar.
This is how you do it, you lie to them. Okay, so what do you wanna do next on this? I think what I was suggesting is we glue those things into the bottom, and I have come to determine that I don't like that.
Okay.
And when I say the things on the bottom, super hyper specific.
Yeah.
I mean, the things on the bottom, these things on the
Those
bottom.
little.
These are gonna be braces for the wing, okay? And what's gonna happen is I think what I wanna do is I wanna actually screw these into the bottom of the wing once we get the wings done. And then I wanna put this on, and I'm probably gonna have to take them back out, and then I'm gonna bolt this together, and I'm gonna slide it into the fuse, and then I'll know exactly, oh no, I can't even do that. I'm gonna have to put the wing on, flip the plane upside down, slide this in when it's screwed in, and then locate my holes. Because look, you locate your own mounting holes. Because that is how you align the flat of the wing.
So we're not doing that now.
No, we can't. We're like way far away.
I
But
was gonna
this,
say.
but this is definitely like, this goes with this, okay? So we can at least put those together. It is like really rewarding to put a plane like this together. If you guys wanna help support our channel and you think this plane is worth taking on, I can tell you this, the PT-17, and I can tell you this with experience, the PT-17 is probably one of my nicest planes. And we have a lot of planes that are really nice. Faster, lighter, maybe more beautiful. I don't know about any of those things, but I can tell you this, wing loading, super low. Controllability, amazing. Beauty, and I'm talking getting in close and looking, is gorgeous. Amount of work to put together, off the charts, crazy, way more.
Astronomical.
Astronomical compared to like even the next worst Dynam, which would have been probably like our next most frustrating. Like they're so frustrating to build, we pretty much like gave them up.
Yeah.
We were like, we're done with this. Too many of the same stupid problems. And
Because it wasn't a good product at the end.
Yeah.
The dancing wings, like it's
awesome
good when you're
at the
done.
end.
Yeah.
And for the record, the same distributor that we work with on these is the same distributor that didn't fire us when we gave you guys real, honest, truthful feedback about Dynam.
Yep.
That speaks volumes about a company that will work with you on, and I think you can kind of tell from what they're stocking. But anyway, so BitGo has been great to work with. They have been, we talk to these Chinese companies, and BitGo's not a Chinese company, but they do sell Chinese stuff just like everybody else does, just like Horizon does, just like Arrows does, just like all the stuff that you see here is made in Shenzhen, pretty much. Yeah. For better, for worse, and don't blame me for that. I didn't set up the geopolitical system. I just been part of it at this point, you know? But we love working with, some of these companies are amazing, but I'll tell you what, when you work with a Chinese company, they are extremely demanding, they're pushy, they will lie constantly. I mean, they will straight up come up and I'll say, okay, these are our criteria to work with you on this project. And then it's not like they don't pay you or they do pay you or they send you the wrong plane or whatever. It's not like that, but they will change the deal like 4 or 5 times. And it is so frustrating. And you guys don't see that side. We don't talk inside baseball like that. We talk inside baseball about other stuff. And for those of you that are this deep into this video, you probably have a deep appreciation for what we do for the hobby and what we do for this channel. And you probably really enjoy it. But you guys don't see what goes on behind the scenes. You don't see how hard it is to keep the pipeline full of planes. That is hard. And so we have mucho respect for the other competitive YouTubers that do this too. And even though we kind of poke fun at, like the sailors in particular, because they're just like easy to poke fun at. They're a nice couple. They really cool family, and they do a lot of good things. And we cover a lot of the same products. But we just do it in a lot different way, So even though me and Nate, we'd probably be best buds. We aren't on camera though, that's for sure. So anyway, for those of you that are watching this, that's one of the things you don't see off camera, is just how much work it takes to keep a constant stream of this stuff going. And like, while we're working on this, we've got, like 5 other projects coming. And, some of them are backlogged, some of them aren't here because they got screwed up in shipping, and we try not to bring you guys a bunch of videos on stuff that can't be ordered yet. And that gets frustrating. We know what that was like when we were just ordering stuff ourselves. And so we try to do that. And then the other thing we try to balance in is like, what can you guys even buy right now? We don't want to do reviews, second thoughts on stuff that you can't even order, because that's frustrating too. Mm-hmm. So we've been trying to be sensitive to these things because we are definitely not in a vacuum here. But getting back to working with good companies, the companies that we direct you to are, notwithstanding a couple that have kind of like come and gone, not because they're bad people, just because like nobody bought anything. And the planes weren't like amazing. Like for instance, Amp Hobby. These guys sell Amp Hobby. Guess what? We used to work with Amp Hobby direct, and they stopped replying to our emails. I don't know why. We probably sold a bunch of planes for them or helped them sell them, or they sold themselves. So however you want to look at it, it doesn't matter. The point is we worked with them directly. Now we work with these guys.
Wait. Okay, go ahead.
What?
It just paused, but it's still going, so you're fine.
Oh, the video? Yep. It must have like clicked over to the next video.
Yeah.
So anyway, the point is when we work with these companies, a big part of what goes on behind the scenes is that we're trying to work with companies that are going to be reputable to us.
Yeah.
And then to you. And so we had a little coming to Jesus moment about one of our companies that we want to work with recently. And we found out some of the things they were saying about us behind the scenes, because we have some really, really good people that watch and follow our channel that really care about us and want for our success, because they're getting value out of it. For better or for worse. You guys don't have to get as much value as everybody else does. But man, that is beautiful. I love the way that looks. That's cool. Anyway, so let's just say that it's going to make it harder to work with said company when they get ready to apologize to me.
And it's just us.
It's just us. Yeah.
There's nobody else.
That's
over
the
here
joke.
except me.
That's the joke for camera
just
crew.
me back here.
And the people that are watching this,
yep.
You already get it, I'm sure. But like every 2 or 3 weeks, I'll get a comment like, why are you so demeaning to your wife? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I love my wife. She's like the most important part of my life. So, and what are we moving on to next?
I don't know. Where are you heading?
By the way, I don't know if I talked about this, but there is totally a chair. That is so cool.
Oh.
So anyway, and there is totally a gun. Woo, YouTube, watch out, it's a gun. Bing, 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 guns kill things. But you can get on and watch the entire war going on right now in real life.
Right.
Get off the counter. This is not a standoff, cat. What are you doing? Just jump. Oh, she's going up on the fridge. She wants to get up on the fridge. She loves being on the fridge. Spot. This is Callie. Callie is
mom of the stripy little cat.
And she also is very mean to her sister. You want to know why she hates her sister? Sure. She hates her sister because her sister got pregnant like a week before she did.
Yep.
Or she had a shorter gestational period with her children.
I know, and she'll like shimmy under the cabinet just so her head is sticking out.
Yeah, we have a picture of it on our Instagram. People always like it.
She's so mean that her sister is currently like living in our pile of hay because it's so terrible here.
Which is crazy because I feel bad for her because Colby is the other cat and Colby is so dang cute and she's small.
She's so nice.
And she is, and she runs away from everything. She's the one that got stuck in that plant stand. Her hand went in and got trapped. and she was tugging. You know how animals will tug if they
She
get
was
stuck?
a kitten.
And so her middle finger or her point, they have 4 fingers and then a claw, right? Like
I
this,
think
like
so.
a hind claw and then one up here.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it's either 3 or 4, one or the other. It got twisted upside down and I had to pull it and straighten it. And I don't know, I'm not a doctor. I just did what I thought needed to be done.
At like 2:30 in the morning.
And it was, you hear him scream like that and you're like, what is going on with you? And so I pretty much set that back into place and it hurt her a lot. And so she hated me for a long time. And this is kind of what happens on YouTube too. When I fix your finger from getting stuck in the plant stand, then people are like, I like the sailors better. They have never fixed my finger. It's just like that.
Are you starting a wing over there? Is that what you're doing?
I don't know what you're talking about. What? This? Oh, this thing. Oh, camera crew, come on. It's only, what time is it? I can't even see. Oh, it's not that late.
Oh, you're gonna do comments too.
I'm gonna get caught up for the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, okay.
I may be losing
tomorrow.
support for the continued build, but think about this. If I started this now, then I could potentially have a little bit more done, and then I could maybe do the other wing off camera, maybe. This is what happens when you're married. You have negotiations about everything. It's wonderful.
You're supposed to smile more when you said that.
I have negotiations about everything, and it's wonderful.
I'm pretty sure if you look around our kitchen, people understand who wins some of the negotiations.
What are you talking about?
This is not a dictatorship by me.
You're gonna get me in trouble again. You're adding fuel to the fire.
Only 3 people are watching this.
That's true. And all 3 of you, you guys are the best.
And the only thing
you guys
that
are all the
matters-
other people, yeah, whatever.
It only matters because I know that you love me.
Yes, and I do. So in talking about the rest of this build, I'm just kind of perusing the manual for a second
Want me to
because
come over there and
this manual is
peruse
so
with
well
you?
thought out that
It is.
they literally made pages. Now, I gotta admit, this manual is a lot better than some we've seen.
It is.
But this is one
Most
page,
definitely.
okay? So it's like, oh, thanks, they showed us which direction the ailerons go.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I already knew that.
I knew that one.
I already knew that. How about you talk about the leading edge slats, which they do right here, okay? So I guess the other thing I want to do is I got to get the gun installed. I got to get the stick firmly. Wow.
Ooh.
They didn't even talk about penetration then. They just stick it firmly.
Okay.
And they talk about the amount of deflection, which is really helpful. They show a lot of this interesting stuff, but then, they talk about the electronics in a, sort of useless way. We did talk about that. And by the way, the rudder, look how definitive that is.
It goes in the...
It goes
in
between.
That's terrible.
I mean, I know what they mean because it's not in the same spot, but it looks like everything else is in the outside hole. Okay.
Okay.
So, I mean, the other thing we could do is we could try to get the nose done because then the fuse might be done. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to reduce the piece count so that we can reclaim our kitchen.
So you put in 2 control horns so far tonight.
No, I put those horizontal stabilizer thingies on.
Okay, 4 pieces.
See, I was right. You're such a jerk. You're such a womanizer, Brian. You hate your wife. It's like, yeah, that's why we work together like 60 hours a week. Mm-hmm. There'd be murders in most cases if we really hated each other. I would say I'd be dead a long time ago. Please help. Send pizza. So I'm just looking at this manual here, and like a big part of what we need to do is we need to block the servos, obviously. We need to get all the controls, like mounted. So there's like 4 trillion of these little black things, okay?
Okay.
And I think really what I need to do is I just need to go through, like there's the controls like this, and I need to get them glued in. And then there's like, honestly, there's quite a few more that they talk about. I still don't exactly understand how the whole pivoting wing thing works. Because even though I know kind of how this works, when we spoke to this a little bit earlier, like it's gonna move out of the way like this,
like,
right? But then
logistically-
how do you stick the rod in there? Because like the rod is still relatively long. And I am certain now that this one goes through the front one. So like when this opens, okay? See, look, I know this one goes here because it fits, okay? So what's gonna happen, I believe, is that Oh, buddy.
What?
What the frick? I didn't know that came out. I honestly didn't know that. That sort of answers the question a little bit. But what I was gonna say is you could, like once we glue that in, then this goes all the way in, you see? You can feed it all the way through the fuse, and then this one doesn't bend, but then that one folds, then this pulls out.
So is that gonna have to get glued?
Yeah, I mean, I assume it's gonna have to get glued. I didn't even know it wasn't glued until just this exact second, so I'm kind of glad I noticed that. Because the instructions sort of made it seem like we had to build that whole assembly.
That whole mechanism, yeah.
Okay, so anyway, getting back to the point. My point is, guys, this is gonna be a challenging part to film because it's a lot of the same steps. But I think what we're gonna do is, with your blessing, camera crew, I would like to get the mechanism put together and then I can replicate that off camera. So can we do that pretty please?
The whole thing?
No, just like figure out how it all goes together. Because like these things, okay, you see these? This comes in a thing, you know, the thing. And what you have to do is you have to build, like where is the diagram that shows how to do this? Oh, look, here it is. I found it. It's right here. You're supposed to put in the, okay, so there, it's on the end of page 2, which is like the right side of page 2.
The second half of 2.
So it is about where, yeah, that's like technically where we're supposed to be. But what I'm saying is all these different weird steps, like there's 3 of these. So I'm just kind of looking, and then this is not the same material as this, okay? This is carbon fiber. That's what's the control rod adapters, okay? Then this is balsa wood. No, it's plywood. What's the difference between plywood and balsa wood, camera crew?
Plywood is layers of
Plywood is plywood.
Yeah.
It's wood. And we don't have a sanding block up here, do we?
I don't think so. Nail file.
Okay. So you guys may have noticed that I was hobbling just a second ago. I sprained my ankle. More to come on that. I hope. I hope it.
You hope.
Just a sprain.
Yeah, we're hoping.
Not something more significant. But anyway, so I sprained my ankle. I'll let you guys guess what I was doing that caused me to sprain my ankle. And it wasn't jogging.
Or running uphill.
I was not running uphill.
And I was not involved.
Really?
I was not.
You're gonna take that position. Here comes Will. So anyway, yeah, that happened. That was fun.
Hey, some of this, in terms of your time frame, will be dependent on how much battery I have.
Oh, okay.
So
here's what I'm gonna do. Look, the handle works as a nice little sanding block. Cool. So really, all I'm doing is I'm gonna do this one wing. I'm gonna get the pieces assembled, and then you know I can share just one side of it because it's not. We don't have to share all of it. We don't have to share everything we do on YouTube, do we?
Hopefully not.
Okay, never mind. Some of my favorite stuff. Anyway. All right, getting back to the point. See, these are like the people that are watching now, they're tight. They're tight with us.
I was gonna say, this is gonna
They get it. These people get it. And if they don't get it and they made it this far, then
kudos to you.
Yeah, kudos
Extra
to
gold
you
stars.
if you survived. Okay, so looking at this, they have W marks, and so it's like evidently this is like W31.
Supposed to be marked?
What the heck does W31 mean? Like W31.
So,
like how am I supposed to differentiate between W31? I suppose there's probably a place.
Where are you looking?
W31. These 3 things are gonna stick into the doohickey holes here, okay? But I don't wanna glue them yet. I'm just gonna kind of assemble them here, okay?
Okay.
They fit nice, really good fit. That'll glue in there real nice because that's sweet looking. That's like a counterbalance in real life. Okay, so there's this and that.
Those are different? Those top?
These are on the leading edge slats, okay? And there's, what are they, there's a bunch of them? And then there's a bunch of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means 3 rows for each side. Look.
3 rows for each side.
Yeah,
Okay.
that means that like all of this is gonna be on that wing, right?
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And then
Maybe
look.
there's extra.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with, no, I'm thinking not. But what I'm saying is like, I don't need to show installing every single one of these.
Right.
Because really what's going on is this mechanism, I need to show like how it works.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. And then what we can do is, I don't even think we need to time lapse that, do we? But
No.
that's when people get good fun stuff, like Will Smith stories.
But we're not talking during time lapse. I mean, there's no audio. We're just talking to each other.
Megan, you're missing my point. Sorry, camera crew. You're missing my point. That's when they hear about Will Smith.
Oh.
And cats.
They already heard about Will Smith.
And injuries.
They're talking about something else.
Secret injuries.
Secret injuries.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, keep going.
I'm pretty sure they can hear us. We have lav mics on. Oh, crap.
Oh no, start over.
See what I'm doing?
back in the
This
box.
actually works perfect. Yeah. And this is not carbon fiber. This is black paint now. Ooh, this one's like sharper up here. Like more resistant. Okay. So, listen, I'm not prone to accidents, weights. I take it back. So there's 2 on the wing and then 1 on here. Okay, one of which is gonna be the control adapter. Okay, and there's 2 choices for where that could potentially go. Yeah, 1 and 2. And then all these are these things, okay? So this is gonna stick into that hole against all odds.
So you're putting them in on both sides? Like on the slat and on the wing?
See, so that's gonna push in there like that, okay?
Okay.
And then, oh crap. How does that work? Looks like, is there just one? One. Okay. But then there's only 1 on, why is there only 1 here? Why didn't they do 2 like every other one? 2 like every other one? You're just confusing me, Brian. You were talking about 2, now you're talking about 1.
They can read their own directions.
Stick to the issues.
Just kidding.
Yeah, you can read your own directions. Let's see the cat up there.
What is she looking at?
I don't know, she thinks she sees something important.
She's gonna go find out. I think she's having a problem jumping off the
Weird.
counter.
Okay, so the way this is gonna work is that this is gonna line up with that. This is gonna line up with that, and so on and so forth down the wing. So I'm gonna basically install those.
How do those go together? How do they attach?
There's a bolt that goes through, okay?
Seriously?
Yeah, this.
Oh.
That goes through like that. And then that makes the pivot point.
Okay.
Okay, then one of these carbon fiber ones, the weird long one like this one's gonna actually be the part that connects either here or here. I believe that's the one that goes on there. So if you look at this, it shows that's the leading edge slat. And I think what happens is that actually goes like this, like that, okay? So then this gets actuated like that.
Okay.
And this is the weird part. So like obviously like the flaps and the ailerons are relatively simple, but you know, unlike the Chinese manual, we're gonna actually go over it.
Okie dokie.
But you see what I'm doing? I'm just popping these things out. So maybe what I should do for a quick second is like, I could just like pop these out, get them sanded, and then we could come right back. Cause like that's really boring,
Okay.
right?
Sure.
Okay, so I just got done popping out a bunch of these, and then just 3 of these. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more, which means that I don't know why they gave us extras of these, because there's only 3 of these that go into the ailerons, okay, and they're just like a decorative piece. They don't actually do anything functionally. But then these, same thing. They're like a decorative like counterbalance. Okay, so like when that actuates, this actuates with a CA hinge, okay? So you can just slip those in while you're at it too for this. Okay, CA hinge. So you got one's cut at an angle, that's gonna work like crap.
So you can get all this stuff glued and it can be sitting up.
Yeah, and that's part of why I'm putting these in now, is it's kind of hard to tell like how that all works. And just to be clear, this is the aileron out here, obviously. And then this is the flap. The flap is not very big, and you're like, but why would you have such a small flap on a plane that's got such a complex system? And the reason is because it's just the way they designed it, guys. This is a scale aircraft. So for better or for worse, for lack of better terms, you know, this is the way it was designed. And this is supposed to be a stole plane. It would have been an early stole plane. And they actually were supposed to use these for like evacuation of, you know, severely injured people in battle. Okay, so these, and then these things, I don't remember if I did that on camera or not, but they just slide in. So obviously they need to be glued. But then I have this carbon fiber joiner stuck in here because at some point we do need to glue this whole assembly together here. So in the meantime, what I'm gonna do is you can assemble these first and then you can thin CA them in place if you want. I'm not as big a fan of that because I feel like this thin CA maybe doesn't give us as big of a good solid bite as the medium CA, which is obviously thicker and more gap filling, okay? But then over here, we broke off and sanded these. I just sanded them just like what we were doing on camera there, like this and like this. There's just a bunch of them. So I said, it's gonna get old watching me do that 40 times, okay? And you can only make Will Smith jokes so many times before it gets old even for us. Okay, so you see they just slide right in there. And once they slot in there, then the counterpart on the other side is gonna go like this. And so what I was thinking is I could glue these and just like literally put this together. Now on this end, I might glue all of them with the thin CA once I build it, okay? Because then I can have everything interlaced. The problem is I kind of need these to be in there where they belong. And then this I will put on later, okay? But I just put that there for demonstration because I honestly don't even remember which one. This is the leading edge flat slat, so it's actually gonna go to that one there. But you see, these don't go in there straight, they go at an angle like that. And so the rationale behind getting this all built together, I'm just showing you, it's not hard to do, it's just a lot of steps, is once you get this all built, you know, like together, hey, camera crew, can we like move this onto the plane stand maybe? Just to, like, I mean, I don't have that.
Oh, you can't reach.
Is what I'm saying. Yeah, there, now turn that so it's just backing out of the way. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm getting at is once we stick all those in, then all we're gonna have to do is really just kind of like tack them and get it all together. Meaning it's not glued here. Those are bolted together with these bolts and nuts, okay? It's like this. So real simple. And it's not a complicated mechanism. It's literally just like a nut and a bolt, that's it. So I may be inclined to just do a little tack glue with this thin stuff and then just let it set. And then I can go in there with some thicker glue and just let it fill the gaps because there's pretty big gaps around all this stuff. But I mean, honestly, it's not hard to do. Again, it's just a lot of little steps.
If you do it with the thin CA, do you run the risk of gluing the bolt?
No, I'm actually not gonna have the bolt in there, I don't think. My plan was just to make sure that you leave a big enough gap here, like this. But it's honestly, they're kind of holding apart. See, like this one already fell out. So I ended up with one extra there, which is, again, kind of weird. So we got a bunch of extras of these, which are the W31s that go on the flap. And then the W29s, they give us the right amount. So I don't understand. Sometimes the Chinese will give you extras just because of the way it cuts out of the board. But I don't think they're used on anything else. Okay? So you see how much play there is on that? So this is why I'm like nervous about how do I know it's all aligned? Because look at that. Unless you had a piece of wire, look at the disparity in the angles and the positions. Like, yeah, and that's gonna make it like actuate terrible. So I'm almost kind of the mindset that the best way to jig this on here would be, and yes, this is right. This goes on the inside, okay? Then they're all centered, okay? So I don't know if the better option would be to just glue this half in and then rotate. But whatever I do here, I have to do on the other side too. So I wonder if I can get lucky. This is when I would like a long piece of music wire because I could feed the music wire through as a jig and then put this all together. but then it's like, it's gonna wanna pull apart, isn't it?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of my dilemma. These are gonna be relatively simple and obvious. I wonder, let's try the thin CA first.
Okay.
So again, if you haven't figured this out from our videos in the past, I'd be surprised because you're watching this video. We try to go through this figuring out process on camera. I mean, like not on the second one. We've already figured it out at that point. But we do that for a reason, because we want you guys to be able to follow a thought process. Because putting together a plane like this involves a lot of decisions. And part of the way that I learn is working through things, working with my hands. I know a lot of people learn that way. So we're just kind of teaching you the way that I would learn. So if you don't learn the way that I'm teaching you, that's fine. I mean, I don't mean anything against it. I'm not trying to pick on you, but that's the way I learn, is by doing it. So if you're learning by watching, then I figure this might give you, okay, so you're gonna wanna probably be, I don't know which side's easier.
I don't want to be in the way of your elbow.
Yeah,
so
I know.
I'll try and stay back.
So I just got a little teeny bit in there, okay? And I guess I'm just gonna have to kind of throw caution to the wind and just let it run, you know? Because like I feel like there's still gonna be a certain amount of play there. And look, if you push too hard, it makes a bulge there, which is definitely not necessarily desirable in this application. I mean, sometimes it is. Not in this application.
No.
And then this stuff takes a while to set up compared to the other stuff. If you have newer CA, it will set up a lot quicker, I'm just telling you. Okay, but then as I work my way down, if I get these all fixed in one position, then I can slide them in and kind of like let things hold together, you know?
Okay.
I'm just not sure if that's gonna work as hunky-dory as I think it will. And I'm not sure if I have to use the thin CA either. I don't know that it's gonna give us a huge advantage. I thought it was, but maybe not. Because look, all I have to do is just pull it out and then just make a big slob in there. Just slob the hole and then stick it in, right? Yeah, see, what's wrong with that?
Is it lined up?
I had no idea.
Okay.
How would I know that? I thought you were doing that part.
Oh, sorry. Nope, I just make dinner.
It smells good. Camera crew's making us dinner, and she's cut up the cilantro and onions, and it smells super yummy. The garbage can is sitting next to me now. And so she cut up the cilantro and onions for some steak tacos, and they're gonna be super delicious. You don't get to have the physique that Brian Phillips RC without having a good cook for a wife. That's for sure. Okay, so I'm just gonna periodically check that the angle is the same.
The same? Okay.
Yep.
Because you're not gonna be adjusting them.
No, I mean, they're glued
They're
in.
gonna
That's
be-
the
that
key.
is what it is.
That's why I'm saying, like,
Okay.
slob the hole, ram it in, and hope for the best.
Go to the next one.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're in that sort of thing, it's
A
kind
little
of
bit of
weird.
time in between.
Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wipe my tip on the thin CA for now, because I think there's still gonna be a time or place for that here in a minute, because we're gonna be thin CAing the other side. Now, the rationale, again, has to do with, this is in a cup because I don't want the cat to be able to knock it over. As easy. They could still come in and do it, but they're gonna have to work at it at least. Okay, so I'm just taking and just gluing around the edge. Okay, just like that, real simple stuff. And then just like one little touch of kicker on either side, just to kind of start setting that up. And we just work our way down. Now, obviously, I'm gonna build the other wing off camera, because like you guys will have already seen the entire process on this wing. I don't know, maybe like where we'll quit tonight, we'll just be getting the assembly put together, and then I can work on getting the other assembly, and then we'll work on like all the servos, because the servos are gonna be kind of a complicated thing.
Okay. I'm gonna have to pull. I'm gonna be out of file space in
Does it tell you how
18
long?
minutes.
Oh, really? That's what they're telling you? Okay, so I just need to hurry and get this done is what you're saying.
Yep.
Seeing all that mess there, I want to clean that up with the Q-tip because it was like kind of a lot. See how that wiggles back and forth? You don't want it to be like a ton of play. So obviously as you go, once this glue starts to set up, then you're gonna lose that play. And once you lose the play, then that's where it is. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to work in such a way that's fast enough to demonstrate exactly how I'm getting the end result, because you guys will see what it looks like when I'm done flying. See, that one's not tipped down enough. Did you see what I did there? It was flat like this. That needs to be like this. Oh my goodness, is it keyed? No, I don't think it is. See, that one's just a different hole. The manufacturer didn't cut it exactly the same.
It's not the same.
So you gotta kind of get that same cattywampus angle, because it's not sticking in there square, it's sticking in there like this, okay? Yeah, right. Hopefully. And some of those things you would think that they would have that, you know, I mean, this is a laser cut model, I would assume. So it's kind of strange that the laser cut model has that much of a disparity in the position. I mean, but again, this is just part of the, you know, like if you want to call it an art of building these planes. And this is just the very last steps of it, because there's a lot. I mean, the people that are working in these Chinese plants have got some massive skills to put all this crap together and make it this clean. Even though we give them lots of trouble about Chinglish stuff and, you know, bad English grammar, like they definitely have some skills. Like they are good at building these things. But we're still gonna make fun of their English. They speak a lot more English than I do Chinese. Okay, so those are glued. So now the next thing we gotta do is we gotta glue all these in, which is almost the same. I'm just gonna like let that sit and cure, or set up, or whatever you wanna chemically react, cook, bake, whatever you wanna call that. These are in here pretty firm, so like, it's gonna be harder to do this without making a mess.
And those don't have to line up with anything else?
No, they're just a decorative thing. So I'm just gonna stick them in there. And I think that's like literally what I'm gonna do. Like that, maybe I'll wipe the edge. Oh, that's already been used. I'm gonna throw those away. These Q-tips are, you know, Q-tips are a great tool to have on hand when you're putting together a plane like this, because you will go through a million of them. And you know, Q-tips are like dirt cheap. So if you're buying a plane like this, you can probably afford a thing of Q-tips at Walmart for $5. Every third or fourth dynam. Dynam. Okay. And you see what, you just take that and just wipe it along. It kind of cleans up the edge. And then that, if that breaks out, like, okay, big whoop, you know, I'm not really worried about it because it's not actually a control surface attachment point. Whereas up here, those are control surface attachment points.
Right.
So it actually does matter a lot more.
Are you gonna glue in those paper hinges right now too?
You know what? That isn't a terrible idea. The problem is I haven't made sure that I have the other side ready to go. I'm just trying to get a little bit of kicker in those seams. You need hardly any kicker to make this stuff work. Okay, so another trick that I haven't talked about in a while is if you can try to join these together and you're gluing one half at a time, which is a pretty common principle, practice, whatever you want to call that. You can go through here, find the opening, and then open the opening if they're pre-cut for you. Because a lot of times it's a lot harder to do this with, okay, here's another one. Kind of weird, it looks like they almost screwed up, maybe added one too many holes. No, that's just the seam. Okay, so now I can just lay that back over here with the other ones. Now, we're ready. You know, you can glue these all once they're assembled, hun.
Right. No, I was just...
If they push in appropriately, then it's not a big deal. The only reason we did the ones on the back that way was because, for lack of better terms, they didn't line up. Wait, hold on. That ain't right, is it? Nope. Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. So what the heck? You know what?
What?
Would you grab the other one and we'll look at it for a minute? I bet I have the wrong one. I bet I have the wrong one because like it's pretty hard to tell the difference here. But then let's look at this, okay? So this shape is a continuation of the wing. So this is the leading edge, and this is trailing edge, okay? But if you look at that, that's where the holes are lined up. Okay, well, that's obviously not right. And then you can see where these holes line up with that. Again, cool. But that can't be right unless I am just like straight up wrong. Obviously, this is the leading edge because that's where they have the slots cut, okay? Let's suppose this one was supposed to belong here. Those don't line up with that now. Okay, definitely the leading edge because it's got slots. What the heck? Did they cut the wrong spot?
Did you just miss a flap slot in the wing?
Hey, hold on. This one keeps falling out.
Do you
Okay.
want to glue it in?
I'm just wondering if I need to just glue that one in. Yeah, I'm gonna come back to that actually. You know, it's possible that maybe that's the first one of this. And there's actually another one, but look where they are. They're like right there. Are you saying maybe there's another spot? Because in the drawing, it doesn't show. Yeah, that's pretty weird. I think they cut those in the wrong spot. I mean, it's easy to add, so I'm not super worried about it. Because you see what I'm talking about, guys? We're off by quite a little bit because this is supposed to line up more or less right there. Ooh, except not necessarily. Look where the servos are gonna be. That is lined up with the right spot.
No.
Hold on a second. Where's a picture of the plane? Let's look at that box. Hey, put that on the other side so we can see it. Like right there, yeah. I'm gonna turn it so we can actually see it. Turn it that way a little bit. There you go.
That's not helpful.
No, I mean, look, the yellow is gonna line up with the yellow, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
Well, these slots are cut in the same spot. What the heck are we doing wrong? See, guys, this is one of the things you run into when you build these planes. Because look, this is gonna line up perfect. Okay, see how all three of those line up perfect, essentially? See how that CA hinge, the paper hinge in the middle is not going through? Okay, so now that's essentially where that's supposed to go, let's just say, right? You need to straighten this too. This is why you watch Brian Phillips RC videos, because then I can frustrate myself in your honor for the furtherance of your build. Okay, so I'm opening that pocket, I'm opening this pocket, I'm opening this pocket, okay? What are we doing wrong?
I don't know.
Okay, let's glue this and think on that for a minute while we glue. We're gonna glue these in with the same, you know, kind of medium CA stuff. Oh, wait, which one goes here? Yeah, that's right. So I'm just kind of going along the edge there. Because this is just, again, this is just a decorative thing, but they were kind of big, so you don't want them to come off of there. Oh, and by the way, this is not about being a cheapskate. This is just like the best way I've found to apply this stuff. Although that former is also true. See, that had a big gap on it, so I didn't like the way that was feeling. So you can walk that right off with a Q-tip if you got a fresh one. These ones are a little bit more sloppy than the ones on the flaps. The flaps were really solid, really easy to stick in there. But I do not understand what's going on with these slots. I think the slots are just in the wrong spots. Okay, so number one, number two, this one's a little tighter, so that should be a little easier for us. See, I'm intentionally getting the edge there that time, because that'll probably help make this go a little easier. Okay. Oh yeah, that fits in there nicely now. That one does. And I always keep this mostly, like I glued this Pringles lid on here so that it doesn't tip over, because I always whack this thing and knock it over. So it just kind of gives you a little bit of resistance to tipping over. Actually works pretty good for that. So definitely copy my simple idea if you think that'll help you out. I think we're gonna have to cut those holes, hon.
Something like that.
Which, I mean, it's not a big deal. It's just weird because, like, why did they get every other one right? It leads me to believe that I'm making a mistake. See, that's what happens on these models. It's not so much like we're trying to beat up on the Chinese people that built this because they did a really nice job on it. It's like a beautiful plane, and I love this plane. But the thing is, it's like, why did you get every other slot perfect, and then this one you like somehow managed to screw up? I don't.
Right. And then it's confusing.
It makes me think I'm missing something because I probably am. Can you think of something maybe I missed? That why that would not line up? I mean, that's definitely the right one. Because look. See, there's a hole. Well, let's just slip these in on the other one. Okay, so there's one.
If you're wrong, then all of the servo stuff is going to be screwed up.
Yeah, the servo, like this servo doesn't look right either. That's part of my problem. Because like, look where the servo linkages are. Well, that's not necessarily true because this servo is going to come out here.
No,
Oh no, that's the leading edge slat. And then the flap could be here or here. Okay.
Yeah.
So agreed. Remember there was a reason we did that earlier.
Right.
I just couldn't remember what it was.
Yep.
Okay, so if this was this one.
Well, you'd have to switch the flap.
We can't.
Servos.
We can't.
Right.
It doesn't work.
Okay, but
then this lines up.
Oh.
This does line up with that. What the heck? Oh man, this is a tough call. So now I need to think about this for a minute.
If you look.
Huh?
Well, put that in.
Okay, so if that's the way that's supposed to be, right? Which, I mean, it's not impossible that that is correct. And we were wrong in our assessment, okay? So I'm gonna move the flap down and then just that sets your gap. Okay, so what are you saying?
This is like the wing that we're working on.
Okay.
And it shows those two little where the servos would line
Here.
up on the inside, which is
Here.
the original piece that you had. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. But then they have the slots cut here.
Okay, but look, these two don't even actually line up with that servo pocket.
I know. And if you look at these opposite one another, okay, it's got to be a factory defect on this. Again, we bring you guys the full truth on these models. That's one of the criteria we use with the companies that we work with. When we talk to them, when we're starting our relationships, we always say, okay, you guys realize we're going to be honest. That means like when things are screwed up, we're going to point it out, not cover it up.
Yeah.
This is right.
It's the right piece.
This is wrong.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, again, not a hard thing to fix. I mean, in the scope of this build, grab that wing, let's see if this lines up. Because then that'll tell us for sure. Because sometimes you just got to double check stuff.
Right.
This is not what Henry Ford had in mind when he started the
Assembly line.
assembly line. Okay, so check this out. See, they're also slotted wrong. Both sides would have been wrong. See? Mm-hmm. Slice here, look.
But put that where it should be. The flap is going to line up.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah,
So
so
it's
there's
right.
so both of our flap adaptation points are wrong.
Right.
That makes sense. I can live with that. It's manageable.
Put that.
Well, we'll just leave it over
Okay.
here because now that we know what we're working with. Okay, so the way that you resolve that is quite easy. You just basically have to make a slice where the flap should be. They've already set this in the center, which is what you want on a flap, okay? So what I need to do now is I just need to basically make a mark where I want this slash to be, okay? Oh, for God's sake. Nothing's ever quite as easy as you think, of course. So I'm gonna lay this like that, and then I'm gonna, you know what? I gotta do this first to be sure, to make sure I get it right, okay?
Yeah.
Don't you think? Okay, so now that these are glued, which probably makes sense to glue that after the fact. And honestly, this is all gonna make that harder to do too. But like, you just gotta start somewhere.
Right.
So I'm gonna take this thin, and I'm gonna glue these CA hinges. If I can slide this in without these pushing all the way in, then I'm gonna go with it, okay?
Okay.
Because I already pushed those in. Don't you dare. You dared. So why are we doing this, camera crew?
Why are you doing it now?
Yep.
To line up the wing.
So
to
we
make
can...
sure that the flap is in the right spot.
Yep. Okay.
We're gonna have to glue those in.
Gonna have to glue them because they want to push out too easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means right here, right like that. We're just gonna go real light on that, just enough to get it to work. Okay, because remember, like we just need something to kind of tack it in there. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we'll come in and soak the whole thing like crazy when it's all inside the wing. Okay. Then this, we probably need to let that sit for a minute so the CA can work.
Do you want to glue those CA hinges?
You know what?
Which
yeah,
is easier
because
to
we
redo.
know. Yeah, because we know where they're going. That's true. We do know where they're going. Because we're gonna cut the slots now.
Right. You're gonna cut the slots on the other side.
Yep. So we're just gonna. Oh, this one's kind of cattywampus. It's at a bit of an angle. Oh man, that's frustrating that they screwed that up because this is always like one of those steps that's way easier said than done.
Yeah.
And I gotta admit, I've struggled to cut these in nicely. I prefer the factory do it because they always do a better job. Okay, so we're gonna let that set for just a quick sec as the CA kind of sets up. Okay, so now while those things are setting up, we'll have to come back to slice and dice.
Yeah.
This is the next obvious choice, okay?
Okay.
So at this point, what we wanna do is we wanna, first of all, check that the glue is set up enough to work. Yep, workable, 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 workable. But there's a pretty huge gap right there.
You're gonna have about 10 minutes.
About 10 minutes, okay. What the camera crew is telling me about is the memory on her recording device, which is, people ask all the time what we record with. We have been using cell phones to record our channel for the entire time we've done it, and then we use Rode mics, wireless Go 2s, which work good. It's the best lab mic we should have bought at the beginning, but they didn't exist.
Right. Which is why we didn't.
And so for those of you that said, you know, like, hey, you need a lav mic, for years we said no, 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 okay. Which is like when you ask your parents for something.
Yeah.
Like, hey, can I get this model?
Finally wore
Yes.
us down.
No, 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 no. Yes. You wore us down.
There weren't a lot of options that had two channels on
Yep, because.
one receiver.
Yep.
Yep.
That's why we did this.
Because we didn't want to lose my snarky commentary.
That was.
Would have been devastating.
Yeah, it would have been devastating to the channel.
But we only have one. So then when we switched to the Rode Wireless Go 2,
Yeah.
there's one receiver that's plugged into my phone. And then we both have our own.
And we're on USB-C for that now. We used to be on a headphone, 3.5 millimeter.
Yeah.
And we just don't use DSLRs because DSLRs, which are like, you know, very expensive. And honestly, like, we don't think they're that much better, except that you can do optical zooms.
Right. Which
Would be
nice.
huge for what we do. But you guys don't understand, like, well, some of you do, but a lot of you don't understand just how hard it is to film. Megan does a great job. She's very good, and we get lots of compliments, and I do pass them along, by the way. And there's lots of them. And so we know that a lot of you guys understand that it's hard, because it's hard to film. Like, I can't film airplanes, not the way she does. You would notice a marked de-improvement in the quality of our video footage if I was filming. Even though, I mean, and I know the airplanes, I'm pretty good at this stuff, I think. But Megan is way better at filming than I am. And that's part of the reason why we've got the running joke about the camera crew, because everybody knows it's just Megan.
Yep.
And that's always been the funny thing, and every once in a while.
Not derogatory or mean. or
Never been
sexist or
chauvinistic or whatever. Yeah, we get a lot of people that get on and they have to have their way with us, and I'm like, yeah, no, bye, see ya.
But people do ask a lot, and I currently am using a Galaxy S21 Ultra. We've used an S9, an S7, an S5,
This
an
would
S3.
not have lined up worth a crap had we
If
done
you
it.
would have done it the other way.
I'm really glad we did this the way we did, because look how struggle-ish this is. This is not super easy to get lined up. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I can actually, you know what? We got tape there, hun.
Ooh.
Hand me that while I'm trying to balance this precariously on my lap. This is gonna give me the ability to hopefully hold things. Always be sparing with tape on these models because you do not want this thing to ruin your wing.
That's gonna look super cool.
Huh?
It's gonna look super cool.
It looks so cool. It's funny because like we build these planes and we go through all the frustrating parts and then we're like, oh, that's why.
That's why.
That's why.
Because it's really cool.
Because it's awesome when you're done and you're like, you forget really quick. It's just like birth. That's how you get yourself in trouble, kids.
Yep.
Don't say things like that ever, unless you're a woman.
You just forget.
You just don't ever say it.
Except you don't. Whoever says that is a liar.
What?
That you forget the pain of childbirth.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Is that why we have 4 kids?
That's why we don't have more than 4 kids.
You know what? That would work good for this gap, but it won't work good for the placement of the hole.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying? Well, I can hinge it here and then hinge it here and then undo the bottom side. The bottom side. Get the khakis.
But you could at least have these lined up and glued in, right?
No, because I need the alignment on both axes. I don't just need the one axis. So what I'm saying is, I'm gonna let it hinge at the top.
Okay.
Right? Then I can walk this down to where the hole is, for better or for worse, right?
Okay. Yeah.
You think that would work?
I think that makes sense.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna just dump the nuts and bolts,
I'm
just like
worried you're gonna
this.
glue your nuts.
It doesn't matter if I glue my nuts. Because if the nuts get glued, that's fine. It's actually not a huge problem.
But it's a hinge.
No, I know, and that I mean I agree that is of concern, but it's not gonna matter. We can just break the CA free.
Okay.
We'll just glue it, and then once the CA, it's just like a CA joint, and at that point.
That's true.
Magnetic?
I can get it.
Yeah. Stainless steel magnet. That's there's no carbon. There's no carbon, it wouldn't work. I know carbon. I'm an expert. I'm an expert in carbons, all things carbon. I've been working with carbon my whole life. If you have any questions about carbon, just come here, ask me. We're gonna go this way. Wait, if I go this way, the extra is getting in the way of the control arm.
Okay.
So if you guys are wondering how my wife tolerates doing these builds all the time and how you can make your wife tolerate it the same way, good luck. Win the lottery, right?
That's not why I'm here.
Not to win the lottery. I'm not talking about winning money. I'm talking about
you.
having a wife that is willing to help you with this sort of thing. See? I almost lost credit for that nice remark. Okay, so you see why this is so important now?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like at first,
just like willy-nilly hope that works.
You can't. You're not. It's not going to work if you try to wing this. Wing it.
Wing it.
Wing it. That was pretty good. That was super punish.
I love your jokes.
That was like punishment. Punishment. It was perfect. It was the perfect comment ever. Perfect. Oh yes, yes, it's perfect.
That's so cool.
That is so cool, actually. Now I can replicate that too, which is the other big factor. Okay, so now let's talk about this for a moment.
A quick moment.
This is tight. This is tight. Okay.
Yep.
So now option 1 would be to thick CA, but that would be bad. I'm gonna go thin CA first, and I'm probably gonna go over the edges like I do with the other ones. Now keep in mind, if you run thin CA in here and you get like thin CA all over this, it's gonna look like crap.
Yeah.
I'm warning you, it'll look like crap. You can be like, Brian, why didn't you warn me about this? I thought you said you were an expert. I'd be like, no, I'm not an expert. I don't even play one on TV. Okay. Oh, goodness gracious, don't you dare do that, you son of a biscuit lover. Sorry, guys. Oh, son of a biscuit lover. See that CA? It's just going right in there, don't you know? Get out of there, you. Yeah, look at that CA. It's sticking my fingers together. Oh, boy, don't you know? I need to get that CA out of there right now, don't you know? Come on now, don't you know? Get out of there. There, see? Look, there it is. Pull it through. Yeah, buddy. Oh, it's still doing it. What the heck? You can see it wicking through there. Because that's what thin CA does. It's annoying that it works so perfectly. Perfect. It's perfect. I know CA. When I talk about CA, I'm an expert. Ask me anything about CA. Okay, so I hopefully soaked enough of it out that it's gone. Okay, now, this is proving to be harder than usual at, every other step has been the same way. But I'm just like, okay, I just need to try to get the nozzle there and just go real light and just let it suck in that little teeny tiny bit. Yeah, that's going in at least. You're kind of in my light, camera crew. You're gonna have to move. I'm sorry, I can't see.
I'm gonna have to go pull footage, so do we need to leave them here?
No, come around here and film until we're done with this.
Well, I only have one
minute. No, over my left shoulder. Let's make this minute count. You see what I'm talking about here? Like it just wants to give me problems. See how it sucks it in, how quick it goes? Okay, now that we're done with that-ish. Okay, that is gonna set up and get them at least in place, okay? Definitely be careful. Oh, son of a biscuit lover. Did you see what I just did? I just wiped CA on there. Try to get that CA off as quick as possible if you can. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back through and do kicker on each of these joints. And then I guess where we come back is gonna be, I'm just gonna be doubling this up with our thicker CA and getting in there and just getting it really more solid, okay? See, because then you can really get in there and control it a little bit better, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so camera crew is right. I really, really wanted to get a little bit further. All right, YouTube, quality difference. We just switched to another camera. So hopefully that doesn't cause lots of problems, but coming back to where we were finishing, we've just been kind of working our way down the wing and just basically using the CA and kicker to get these reinforced from the outside, the thick, or not the thick, but the medium CA. And yes, you can actually get thick if you weren't aware. I mean, most of you guys have probably bumped into that at one point or another at your local hobby shop or whatever. And okay, so now that these are all glued in place, I could just like actually put the nuts on there too. There's no reason not to.
I think you might as well.
Yeah, it's got to get on there anyway. So what I'm gonna do is I'll take and I'm probably gonna just like clean my tip quick while we're between steps. And my deal I made with the camera crew off camera was that when we're done with this side mechanically, everything but the servos, because I want to do all the servos on camera because it's kind of a weird setup. Then I'll build the other half of the wing off camera because it's exactly the same process. But like, look how small this nut is, camera crew.
I know.
Like that's nuts. Literal nuts. Did you catch that?
So funny. How are you gonna get your fingers in there?
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh God, that's gonna, you know what would work for this?
What?
Forceps.
Do we have them out yet?
No, they're in there. Well, hold on. Let's try needle nose first.
Okay.
I know you guys are probably cringing because like, oh boy, don't drop it. So what I can do is I can turn this like that angle. And this is literally all you have to do is you just thread it on. Okay, because there's like not a lock washer, there's not a jam nut, so like these things are gonna come undone if you don't do something about it. Okay, remember this is a pivot point, so you don't want it tight. You just want it on there, okay? Now once you have it on there, critical step, okay? I'm gonna put my finger on the side of this and just turn it until it kind of engages that material, but I don't want it to be tight at all. Okay, you see that? You want that to be loose like a nylock, okay? So if this was like being properly designed by engineers, they would use a nylock there. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a big dab of CA just like that. Now what that's gonna do is it will act a lot like a nylock, and that's got kicker on it. Although it's getting hard. Oh, dang it. So once it gets hard, the kicker won't, it's like already set up, right? So I'm just gonna take a dip and then go down and do that. Yeah, the forceps are not probably necessary on this step, I think. Thank you for grabbing those or attempting to. So then each of those, kind of the same exact scenario, just kind of stick it at an angle like this. And then also, for those of you that are new to Brian Phillips RC, if you're still watching, congratulations, you're one of the few and the proud, the Brian Phillips RC subscribers, more than likely. So thank you for subscribing. Click the bell for notifications. You'll get updates when we do new video footage. Obviously, they're not all this long, but we also don't do as many detailed builds to this level of degree of detail. Okay, so now that's tightening. So now that's probably too tight, because now if I were to try to turn, yep, it holds the nut. So you want to just turn it until it starts spinning, okay? So that's the key, the easiest way. And then same exact process. Ooh, left flap, leading edge slap. We're going to take that hole. See, one big glob. Seriously, that's all it takes. Make sure that's not set up. The reason I'm smelling for that coconut flavor smell. And if you don't smell it anymore, it means it's totally set up, so it's hard like this, okay? So sometimes if you want to save money, you know, because like Q-tips are expensive, you can do that. What? There's people that need to save money on their Q-tip supply.
Well, it's really true.
Oh, sorry, that was in the way.
That's good.
Okay, so you'll note that I'm screwing from this side. So you got to do this before you put that black thing in, which is the actual control arm. Or the control horn. Okay. So this works out pretty good. This is a Chinese screwdriver. We got this in probably a Dynam aircraft. Man, that last hit of the CAs.
It really is that good. All I can smell is onion.
It smells great, onions and cilantro. So for those of you that haven't been with the channel long, what we do is long format video. And I know I've said this a couple times in this huge video. You may have already figured it out and you're like, oh, good Lord, I thought this was gonna be another 15 minutes and it's like 4 more hours to go, or 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get it, guys. Like, I don't know. But I would not watch a video this long, but some of you guys really, really enjoy that. And so we try to bring what the audience asks for. Now, not every video is going to be this long, just because like usually we would have built like 7 or 8 planes by now. But the idea is this plane is going to be extra special and it's going to have a special place in our heart. And so as a result, we're going to do it justice as much as we can, right?
Absolutely.
And what? You think it's going to be?
I'm doing my best over here.
You're doing a great job. Cam crew always does a good job. It's just me that's questionable. That's why we call it Brian Phillips RC. 50-50. Everybody does his fair share. Yeah, everybody the other day, we had this little thing going, little dumpster fire going.
Yeah.
Where there was one person that had like 4 accounts that was complaining about something because they had to voice their opinion.
It's called Brian Phillips RC for a reason. I am not an RC expert.
Yeah, but like you don't claim to do that either.
I don't.
We've never, like that's never been our shtick.
It's not my thing.
But you've been filming, but you didn't even start filming, remember? Like at the beginning? I mean, you filmed, but like every time it would be, like every other time it might be Esteban or, you know, it might just be like a short clip or whatever. And I used to film a lot of it myself. Like I would wear headgear, which was terrible because I get like a huge neck ache.
Those were the days.
I used to have a phone that was literally mounted in front of my face so I could see that it was in focus.
Yeah.
I used a Galaxy S3 and it would hang on a helmet. I had a hard hat that was a bump cap and I took off the cap and then there was a frame and it would hang like this and I would try to work and it was terrible.
Yeah.
It was like the most uncomfortable process ever. And then for like a few years after I stopped doing that, people were like, we miss the old days where you would do LEDs.
Where you were uncomfortable for hours and hours.
And I'm like, you miss them, but I don't, because it was terrible and you guys didn't understand how uncomfortable and like I would literally dread that process. And yet we would have some pretty good footage from it because I would get going on, you know, tangents.
But I don't claim to be an RC expert by any means. I just film.
Oh, whatever. You're an RC expert just because you live with me.
I mean, I've learned a lot.
which is kind of funny because she knows a lot about scales too, because I work on industrial scales for a living. And well, I mean, I guess I kind of do this for a living too, sort of. No,
Sort of, kind of.
not really. Sort of is the key. Like to do it for a living, more for a living. But she hears all about that stuff, and she picks up on stuff because I tell her all these technical things that like most people, humans.
Someday I'll just do my own. Tell me all the things I did wrong.
What are you talking about? Oh, your own RC airplane?
Plane.
Okay, so you see this? Now all the bolts are in there, and then I'm just gonna do the tug test here. I'm going to see if they move. If they move in, if they move out, look.
The bolt that
There's
themselves.
play on the bolt. That's okay, and I'm totally fine with that. Okay.
How long until you can actually actuate that thing?
I'm gonna take the tape off right now.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be so cool.
I know, it's
I'm super excited for it. Oh, that tape is way too strong for this. Hurts. Oh man, I should have got on a rib. Tape onto the rib if you can, guys. Don't, you see how I put it in the middle? That's not good. Don't do that, because it may rip.
Stretch your...
Oh man, that would be so terrible if oh yeah. Yeah, that's bad. Well, this is gonna be sweet.
Okay, wait.
Ready? Oh, that's so cool. And yes, there was CA that was still bonding that. That is freaking sweet.
That looks really cool.
Man, that looked like so much work, and it totally was, but now look how freaking sweet that is.
That's so cool, though.
And those are active, by the way. So that's what a leading edge slat is. In this case, and there's different droops. Sometimes they come out like this, like on big airliners. Sometimes there's 2 or 3 stages, depending on how complex it is. On fighter aircraft, it's usually a leading edge flap, and it just folds. Sometimes they come out and they articulate out. Sometimes they have a split like this. That'd be like I think it's called a Fowler, okay? But this is a leading edge slat, so that is so freaking cool. Oh, I love it. Man, that makes me just like fall in love with this plane. That is so cool, look at that. I mean, obviously you're not gonna go all the way out like that. It would like totally defeat the wing. But what happens is, you know, you would even probably go like that. But that's probably about the max deflection there. This would be like full speed flight, and then like just like takeoff flaps, and then like landing flaps where you would just really be able to come in here like super high angle of attack and almost no stall tendency at all. Whew, that's so cool. Okay.
That's very cool. See? Even I think that's cool.
I know, and see, that's the thing, like how many women think that's cool?
I don't know, I'm sure there's
4 of them.
A couple more.
In the world. There's not that many women that do this. It's not like a sexist thing. It's just like I don't know, like women just aren't into the same stuff as dudes. Generally speaking. Generalities get people in trouble anymore. Like we can't ever talk about generalities because it's like wrong that there's generalities. But it's like, that doesn't mean that there shouldn't be women doing this. I would love it if my daughters got into this.
Yeah.
You know, that would be so cool. But like, I'm not really expecting them to get into it big time because I'm a realist. It's just, it would be somewhat unusual if that happened. And I would love it. And I would invite it all day long if my girls got into this. So I hope they do, but again, I mean, like my girls love craftiness stuff, and that would be like super cool if we could share this together, because my oldest son likes it, and my youngest son is crazy. He's the crazy one.
He likes airplanes, though.
He does love airplanes, so he's...
Mostly paper airplanes, but...
Yeah, because you can destroy them. Yeah. Because he's like crazy person. Okay, so I'm going to cut that at the same exact height as, you know, so I'm going to cut right there, right there, right there, right there, right there, right there. And all I have to do is just cut between those lines. And I have to try to keep it nice and square. So this is the only time on this plane we're gonna have to cut for CA hinges that they call paper hinges. I've never heard anybody call them paper hinges, but maybe that's what they're called in China. But you see this right here? I'm just double, quadruple checking. And then I'm just gonna dive in and cut. It's a very daunting, scary step. Okay, so I'm gonna cut like that. And I'm gonna go just a little bit wider than my mark. And you gotta cut pretty deep. This is a good place to stab yourself. You gotta be very careful here, guys. And yes, this is a new X-Acto knife blade for this model. Okay, now I'm gonna square the hole by going in like this. And yes, I did overcut. That was intentional and purposeful. Is that kind of redundant? Purposeful and intentional.
Yeah, a little bit. That's
okay, now, watch this. Drip, drip, drip. Watch this. Drip, 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 drip. See, there's hardly any that gets on there, but watch this. See, takes off that finish. You can also use isopropyl alcohol to get that without any trouble, but that will take that mark off completely. And if I just add a little bit more kicker on there, it would clean it off even better. See? Now I can take this one. Now this will be opened already because we just put a blade in there, but I'm just gonna do that to just show you kind of what I'm talking about. Pretty sweet, right? Okay, so we've got our other two marks, so we just have to emulate that as close to exactly as possible. Okay, now remember, this is gonna dictate exactly where that flap goes. So I'm gonna take and just make a little mar, a little mar, a little mar, and then I'm just gonna follow along, get my initial cut made. Now my fingers are out of the way, so if it would slip, I'm not gonna stab myself. Okay, so that's cut. Same thing over here, just kind of following along exactly where it is from the factory one. And for those of you that don't know some of the advantages of a balsa wood aircraft, the advantages go a little something like this. Much higher quality in almost every aspect, lighter wing loading, but way, 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 way more work to put together, okay? And lasting, because foam planes just, they do kind of have a shelf life. They just get destroyed a lot easier. They get more rash, hanger rash, which is where you're, you know, maybe moving them around to load them in a car or truck or whatever to go to a flying field. And the next thing you know, something gets damaged. The other cool thing about this plane, by the way, while we're on the topic, this thing goes in your car and you can fold the wings back and it'll take up just hardly any square footage.
That's true.
Like, look at how big that plane is.
Yeah.
That's, well, I mean, it's gonna be a little bit bigger than that, but those wings are gonna fold right over the tail.
Yep.
And that's awesome to have a 1600 millimeter, you know, warbird for all intents and purposes. I mean, this is technically a medical evacuation plane, but what's gonna happen is you're gonna take these wings, you're gonna sweep them back, all the leads are gonna come out of the way, you're gonna have one joiner rod that has to go, and then it's gonna be sweet. I can't wait to share that part. That's gonna be so cool. Okay, so clean as a whistle.
Nice.
Okay, so now I need to go back to CA joints. Sorry, flipped it the wrong way. So these are glued. These are glued. So now let's see if my cut worked. Oh, please work. Okay. And if you're like careful about this step, then it should be a pretty easy step. Okay. I'm having trouble getting that one in. I don't think I cut wide enough.
On that very last.
On maybe this one too, actually. Ooh, that sounded terrible. Okay. Okay. This one here was just, yeah, I'm hitting like a support there, like a structural member. Oh crap, you know what? I wonder if I'm hitting the carbon fiber. No, I'm well below it. Now we try again. Oh yes. I think we might have it, maybe? Yes, okay. Now, I can tell you one thing that's wrong, first of all. See how I'm over the edge? But I don't have enough to slide over then, do I? Or did it just slide for me? Yeah, see, this is over the edge here. I need to get that scooched that way a little bit. But I feel like I just opened that pocket, so it should just slide right over. But it's not. Oh, well, it's probably this one.
Hitting that support down there.
So, I hate to do this, but I'm gonna do it. Okay, so you see what I just did there?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna make this hinge a little bit smaller, and that's gonna allow us to get in there just for ease of insertion and around the tip. That allows us to play both directions. See what I'm talking about now? Mm-hmm. See, now we're evidently like caught still. What are we caught on? Doesn't seem like we should be caught. See, I'm still not totally flush here. Like, what the heck? Ooh. Pretty darn close. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm talking about?
Really close.
It's not there though. I think I'm hitting here.
Do you need to put the aileron in just to make sure?
Oh, look. They broke free. You see that? My CA joint broke free. They're allowed to pivot now. That actually might be okay though, because that one, you see how it turned sideways just a little bit? It went like this. I'm actually okay with it because look, now we're totally flush. Here. Now remember, you need to actuate your flap like all the way down before this is glued to where you think it's gonna end up. You see what's happening to my CA hinge? It's pulling out. If you don't have enough play there, you're not gonna be able to pull your flap down. That's a tough one. Okay, so let's look at this again. You see how there's like no gap? You gotta be able to actuate your flap to where you want your flap to actuate to. Like if that's your maximum deflection, you gotta have it all the way down like that. You see? Otherwise, if this is pushed in, right? Then watch what happens. When you rotate, you're gonna pivot, but you gotta be able to pull that out a little bit. See, that'll go up, that'll go down, that'll go up, that'll go down. And in the manual, they talk about this just a little teeny bit as to how far they're expected to throw. See, they only talk about the aileron, they only talk about the elevator and the rudder, okay? They don't talk about how much deflection for the flap. Oh, they do. So it looks like 40 degrees. Okay, so how do we figure 40 degrees? 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 45 degrees, 45 degrees, 5 degrees, okay? So that's the angle we want. Okay, so when looking at this, we've got 45 degrees. That's good, that's where it goes. All right, so then we take our...
Do you want to do the aileron to make sure you have a similar gap, or does it not matter?
Well, we could do that, and it's not going to hurt anything to do those like this. I think there's two trains of thought. Like we could just leave these unglued. Okay, so I'm just trying to find those pockets, which I already found earlier. Just like this, okay. And we're just gonna make sure we don't have like some weird gap. Because remember, the ailerons need to move less, but look at that. There's a big gap up here, big gap. Now it's flush, okay? That leaves a huge gap here, holy cow. Is that the way that's supposed to be? I don't like that at all, do you?
That does not seem...
It doesn't seem consistent with what we're dealing with. It just makes me nervous. Okay, so this is gonna pivot, right? Mm-hmm. So wait, hold on a second. Okay, hold on a second. So watch this. Okay, so you're ready to pivot your wing. Does that go over the top of the... Here, let's try it. Can you slide that over to me, camera crew? Just slide it over the top, straight back. I would normally get up, but I'm kind of sprained ankle. Okay, so you see, I'm gonna pull that out. And look at this. So how's that lining up? Is it not going in? Okay, so what I'm trying to figure here is if I need this to go through. Gosh, does that line up there? That is correct, isn't it?
Yeah, that's gotta be it.
Why does it not go in? I feel like it went in before. What I'm trying to figure out is like, is this gonna be allowed to fold? Because the flaps are gonna be in the way. Are they? Oh, look, look. See that? No, that's glued. That's where it's supposed to be. I'm gonna just pull this off. Oh yeah, there it goes. It's in. Okay, so that's gonna be like that. This is gonna feed through to hold the other side. So there's gonna be some level of play. So this will get pushed through like that into the other wing. Then this is gonna go in like this. Okay. However that glues in. Slip in there, you turd lover. Okay, so then this, okay, is gonna go like that, but look what's gonna happen. Come around this other side here, Kimker. See what's gonna happen? You're gonna run into, so if we pull the flaps down, you're gonna run into that. Well, if you push the flaps up, you see what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Are you gonna have to undo this too? Is that other one gonna come out and then you can just like rock it up? Because look, see what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Because there is a second wing joiner by the drill. You see it? Grab that. That wing joiner goes from here through like this. Okay, see how that wing joiner goes? Mm-hmm. These are the types of things that you have to think about in the right order, and the instruction manuals would probably be happy to explain them, except that they don't.
Right.
So don't plan on them explaining this to you. But you see what's going on? Look.
Yeah.
The flap is gonna hit. So like if this flap runs over further, then that buys you a little bit more room, but then like how the heck are you gonna deal with that? Maybe you run the flaps up, but even still, what the heck is the point?
Then you're gonna still hit like on that pivot point.
Yeah, because there's also gonna be a canopy thing over this, which is gonna make it even taller. So what's the point of the fold? What do you just run it up like that and then
because you'd be in your canopy right now.
Well, but you see, like it'd be sweet if it went all the way back. But I mean, you can still pull this wing out a little bit, right? Like this, and you can still, you know, like that. If you have a long enough cable.
Right.
But that's not the way it would work in real life. And I don't know if the wings folded in on this in real life. So, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
You see this? Maybe you're not even supposed to fix that.
So it would like slide on, but you still have to have a long enough cable.
Oh no, you still run into the flap issue.
Yeah.
Because that pivot point isn't the issue at that point. Wow, that's a good question that I'm glad we ran into now instead of like after this is all glued together. Because that is kind of a big deal. You know, because, okay, so when you're in flight, it's pretty straightforward stuff. You just, you know, this is gonna be in there halfway and halfway, right?
Right.
Then your wing is gonna be on there and everybody's happy, okay? But then when you go to collapse it, you open up the lid here, then you slide this through so that it goes all the way out of the wing, okay? Or, you know, like into the other wing, the other side. Then this thing is gonna pivot back, but you're only gonna get, you know, so much. Unless you pull this other one through, which I don't know if you're gonna be allowed to pull that through, but suppose you do. Once you pull it through, then you would be able to technically rock the wing up. Nope, you can't rock it up because look what happens. Then you run into the wheel.
That.
So if you go down with it, then you exacerbate the issue. Because then you would run into like where the, you see what I'm saying? Like then it defeats the whole purpose of the
fold.
Well, I mean, it doesn't defeat it. You just have to have your flaps set up, which is an unusual attitude for flaps. And then you end up with this, which is still pretty huge. It's a heck of a lot less huge than this times 2.
Right.
But anyway, we're gonna have to get creative on that.
Yeah.
Okay, well anyway, problems for the next video, right?
Okay, good.
Okay, so really where we are, guys, we've got a lot left on this build, obviously. I'm gonna get the other wing put together because it's the exact same process. Nothing really is any different. So all I need to do at this point is get the aileron and the flap glued, because unless we were to take this off and literally cut an angle like this on the flap, then that would allow you to pivot the thing back. And I just don't think I like that.
No.
It's gonna look hokey, and it's gonna change the aerodynamic performance of the plane. So I'm not a big fan, I'm not a fan of that. I am kind of a fan of being able to slide this out, except that doesn't actually fix the problem from the pivot point.
No.
Because this is the problem, is right there. If there wasn't a flap, then that wouldn't be a problem. But then what are you gonna take that flap off every time?
Yeah, right.
Like that doesn't make sense at all. I mean, you might run the flap up, but see there again, that's what I was talking about. Like you need to know what you're doing at this stage.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna just throw caution to the wind. At this point, we've overthunk this thing like crazy, and I think we're good to go. Like, I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna basically, we're gonna send her. We're just gonna slide this back as far as we can toward the aileron, and you'll see that we're running into problems now because guess what?
You don't have enough, you're running into that bulkhead.
Running into this bulkhead again. Okay, so really what needs to happen now at this point is we need to slide this as far over, slide this as far over, which it is. That's still glued. This one is still glued too. I'm just gonna see if we can buy a little bit more room here. Still gonna be plenty of strength. These things are incredibly strong. Very careful the way I do this. And keeping in mind, guys, this whole process that we're going through can be applied to other models, but not every model is gonna need nearly this level of effort.
Right.
Or thought, or, trial and error, whatever you wanna call it. Okay, so now that we've got that, see that paper hinge is just being a pain in the butt.
I wonder if you need to make that opening bigger on that.
On this?
Yeah.
Okay, you mean toward that side?
Mm-hmm, I think so.
Like, look, it's not even all the way over there though, hun. See what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Unless I just didn't cut that area because there was like ooh, yeah, see, I'm fighting that. There's a rib right there. That's why I'm having trouble. Yeah, I don't want to get cut.
No.
You got enough things going on with me right now. Okay, so like, let's slide this in here.
So did that come unglued?
Yeah, it's the only one. It just broke free because we only did a little bit of glue. Teeny, teeny, tiny bit. But look, now we're touching the aileron. Okay, or darn near touching it. So let's just say we decided that we wanted this gap to be true for both surfaces. Okay, that's gonna get you all the way down. So really, this isn't gonna go any lower than that, right? Because we got that decorative thing. That is the full deflection.
Oh, true.
That is the full deflection. That is the full deflection. That is the full deflection. See? So there's no reason to have it out any further. Then this, now that we have that where it is, that's just what it is, okay? Keep your gap as tight as possible. Keep it flush. But then look, this isn't flush. So that means what I would prefer to do is have this gap flush here and here. Even though that means we waste a little bit of gap, okay? So that's how you do that. And then, what do you do next, camera crew?
Fincier.
You glue it before you change your mind.
Yep.
That's the key.
Quick. Capillary effect. Ready to go.
Oh, that's right, capillary effect. Just let it run. And then try to, you know, soak that stuff up if you get it on the surface of your finished work. Okay, and I'm just gonna go kind of sideways there. Capillary effect, let it work its way in. 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 Okay. Now, we've only glued the one side. So ideally what I would do with this is I would just kind of do a couple of back and forths to try to encourage it to just suck into that opening. Just like this. Just a couple sweeps back and forth. And see it's sucked into that one already. Okay. And you just want to give it a good old college try. Make sure you have a nice even gap. Okay, because if it's not even, it might kind of operate weird. Okay, so we're good there. Nice, even, smooth transition to the next opening. Then we flip this wing over. We just come in here and just little teeny drip, little teeny drip, little teeny drip, little drip, little drip, little drip, okay? Then we take a fresh Q-tip and we walk along the seam. We actually hit it, which is somewhat defeating of what we just did. That is sweet looking wing. That's so cool. Then we let this work. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, but isn't that gonna make like a really brittle hinge? Yes, that's exactly what it's gonna do. And that's exactly what it's supposed to do. Okay, so we're gonna set this down for a minute. Okay, so really technically this wing is done with regard to this wing compared to the other wing, okay? We still have servos to do, but the servo pockets are gonna be a whole nother thing. But this is what we're gonna get for tonight, for now. That is so cool. I'm super happy with the way that turned out. It was a lot of work, but it's not like any one of the steps is super hard. It's mostly a matter of figuring it out, you know. And the other thing is I am not even gonna touch this with a 10-foot pole right now. I'm just gonna wait. And yes, there is a pretty big gap here, and that's what I want. I want the largest gap I can get right here, okay? That's gonna help with the fold, especially if you put that up and then you fold it back. You're probably gonna be able to get to something like that, okay, before it runs into itself. So, very cool. All right, guys, stay tuned. So much more to come. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, do all those normal things you do. Share the video with all your family members and everybody you've ever met in your life, obviously. And then, you know, I mean, especially if they hate RC things, you know, because they're gonna love this channel.
Right, for sure.
But at the end of the day, we appreciate you guys. We're not done yet. Stay tuned. Much more to come.